complete. Now watch the ball here. That ball could have been a completion. It was in the hands and just came out.
Jeff Gossett gets the putt away. Fulton Walker at the 44, going nowhere. Stopped after a 3-yard pickup by D.D. Hoggard.
Well, great field position for the Raiders. They're going to have the ball at about the 47-yard line. That's great field position for them to start off. And they're doing one of the things, Mel, that they wanted to do. They wanted to keep the ball deep in Cleveland's territory.
Well, Dave, we talked about the quarterback change. Jim Plunkett for Mark Wilson, and they certainly got some dividends early with Plunkett throwing an early touchdown pass.
He threw that. He caught Dokie Williams down the sideline, and that's something that Jim Plunkett is not afraid to do. I think right now Mark Wilson is almost a little bit shell-shocked in this stadium. Every time he comes out to warm up, they boo at him, and really Jim Plunkett is the one that he's kind of like the elder statesman here, kind of like the old George Blanda.
Marcus Allen in the game now for the Raiders. He did not start the game. He's had a sprained ankle. He got hurt against the New York Giants 6 weeks ago and is still hobbled by that ankle sprain. It's just not healing. Raiders leading 7-0. The 10:25 mark of the first quarter. Second down and 7. Plunkett's pass is incomplete as he tried to hit his tight end Todd Christensen. Ray Ellis defending, number 24. You know, they call the Cleveland defense the Dogs. That name was given to them by Hanford Dixon, and he has announced that Ray Ellis has been officially inducted into the Dogs for this game.
Well, what they're doing now is they're using Chip Banks, number 56, two ways. They're either putting pressure on, or else he's covering Todd Christensen man on man. So he is going to have an important day. There's Christensen. Now look at Ellis staying right with him, and he slipped in the turf. Of course, this field was used yesterday, or last night, I should say, and it's not in the best of conditions, even though it is nice and green.
Todd Christensen with 59 receptions. Only Al Soon of the Jets had more in the AFC beginning play today. Passing down for Plunkett. And he's got Dokie Williams again, but a penalty marker down, a 24-yard gain. Williams making the catch in front of rookie free agent Mark Harper.
And this is going to be pass interference, but it's going to be interesting to see which way it is. I thought that Dokie Williams might have pushed off, but in fact they're going to call it holding against Cleveland.
They'll take the gain, a 24-yard pickup, the foul against Mark Harper.
Now you might see what I thought was the push-off up the top of your screen. You can see how quickly Dokie Williams gets out of here. There's the flag. We really don't see the holding call, but referees were right there to call it.
We understand Frank Winterfield has pulled a hamstring, and that's why Mark Harper was in there for that play, and you could expect the Raiders to try to attack the rookie.
Oh, yes, they're going to come after him.
Jesse Hester in motion. Allen and Hawkins are the running backs. Allen following Hawkins' block inside the 20, 15, 10. Down near the goal line, couldn't get in, and he stopped short at the 1-yard line. A 24-yard run by Marcus Allen, but a penalty marker down again.
And I think it's going to go against the Raiders because I saw some of the Cleveland guys waving their arms back, so it may in fact go against the Raiders for illegal motion. They're having a discussion down there.
Looked like Frank Hawkins might have moved a beat early.
If it is, it certainly is a critical penalty.
Illegal motion.
Well, that's the best play that Cleveland's had for them today because it brings back a... The one thing that Marcus Allen does is he's got that great acceleration and great choice. You can see how it's a delay in the hole. Frank Hawkins, 27, makes a nice block. Now watch the movement by Allen. If he's got a sore ankle, I'll take him with a sore ankle over a lot of running backs. There's another change of direction back inside. There's another one. And when he gets down there, he just about makes it to the goal line. All for naught, of course, brought back by the penalty.
Sam Clancy, number 91, a 260-pounder, is checked in on the defensive line for Cleveland. First and 15 for the Raiders. Plunkett hits his tight end, Todd Christensen, with Chip Banks all over him. Fine catch by Christensen. Plunkett was lucky to get that pass away. Carl Harrison was really blowing in there on him.
Well, they have got to get pressure. There's Christensen coming off the line. Now watch, here's Chip Banks. He's playing man-to-man. It's quick out now. He slants back in, tries to pick up the eyes of Plunkett. He picks up 6 yards by the play, but boy, I'll tell you, pressure is really coming hard on Plunkett back in the pocket. They were scrambling and digging to get back there.
Anthony Griggs is back in at linebacker for Cleveland. Sam Clancy comes out. Plunkett has completed 4 of 6 passes for 103 yards so far. Napoleon McCallum wrestled down by Eddie Johnson, number 51, who leaves the Browns in tackles. Got an injured Brown. Carl Hairston, defensive tackle, the 11-year veteran from Maryland Eastern Shore, is shaken up.
You can see it looks as if they're working on his right leg. He may have twisted a knee or an ankle when he went down. He's obviously in pain, face down.
Green Bay beating Tampa Bay. Green Bay upset Cleveland earlier this year. The Raiders lead it 7-0. 3rd down and 7 for Los Angeles. Plunkett into the end zone for Dokie Williams, but he's out of bounds. Looked like there was a lot of contact.
And what a thing Dokie Williams did. He was down deep in the end zone, and he tried to actually look off the cornerback. What he did is he tried to just kind of slow down and just kind of stand there. Now look right here at the end. Watch. He just nonchalantly just stands there and then just turns around, tries to get those toes in bounds. You can see the referee had great position. Now watch the toes. That is the difference between this game, inches. Look right there. Both feet, of course, are out of bounds. But he really did a tricky thing. He tried to look off the defender as he was standing down there.
A 40-yard field goal attempt coming up for Chris Barr, the older of the 2 Barr brothers. He's 33. Brother Matt is 30. Mark Wilson holding. And the kick is good as the Raiders lead climbs to 10-0. Barr is having an outstanding year. He's connected on 15 of 18 field goal attempts.
Well, they are 2 excellent kickers, both brothers, and both from Penn State. I should mention
I knew
that.
You'd mention that.
You know, I just have to put that in there. Us Nittany Lions, I see getting a field goal, and that's what the Raiders did. Cleveland has been on the poor end of field position in this first quarter.
Gerald McNeil, about 3 yards deep, decides to stay in the end zone, and it's a touchback. And let's go to New York and to Ahmad.
Raiders told me, I was talking with Ray Guy earlier in the game, before the game, and he told me that they will definitely kick away from him. They have that much respect for him.
Herman Fontenot in motion. Kevin Mack is the lone setback. Kozar's pass is incomplete, knocked down by the All-Pro Mike Haynes. Reggie Langhorne was the intended receiver. Langhorne in his 2nd year from Elizabeth City State, the same school that produced former Eagles quarterback Johnny Walton and the great defensive tackle of the Dallas Cowboys, Jethro Pugh. Brian Brennan has replaced Langhorne.
Now what Kozar has to do right now is kind of settle down, get back in, get a couple first downs and get some continuity in his offense. Right now he's just a touch rattled, if that's possible.
And off to Kevin Mack. Mack and Ernest Biner were the story last year for the Cleveland Browns, each rushing for over 100 yards, but Biner has been hurt this year. Mack also missed 4 games with a shoulder problem, and their rushing game is now 13th in the AFC. Fortunately, they have upgraded the passing game.
Yes, and certainly after last week. It's really important that they do get a couple first downs here, because Bernie Kozar is a young quarterback. He hasn't been in a lot of situations. I know he had a great college career and everything, but really when you play in the NFL, you need that experience, the years that Plunkett has had to be in those different types of situations. And he needs to get that offensive continuity back. He needs really to pick up a first down in this situation.
Brian Brennan is wide to the right. To the left side is Carl Weathers. Herman Fontenot. We'd like to welcome those viewers who've been watching the Miami and a field goal by Chris Barr. Jeff Gossett, who's 5th in the AFC in punting, to kick. Fulton Walker at the 25 looking for blocking, giving ground. And he's brought down at the 15-yard line. Ralph Malone down there. He gave away about 9 yards, retreating and looking for blocking. And with 6:33 remaining in the first quarter here in Los Angeles, the Raiders lead the Browns.
They are trying hard to bring Mark Wilson in and make him be the quarterback, because you can't build a team around a 38, soon-to-be 39-year-old quarterback. But now the Raiders have got to go with him because they've got 6 games left and they have got to win them.
Plunkett to Todd Christensen, ridden out of bounds at the 28-yard line by Ray Ellis. A 12-yard gain and a Raider first down. Plunkett, who's led the Raiders to 2 Super Bowl championships. He was the most valuable player of the 1980 Super Bowl. We should point out, Dave, that you spent about 4 years in a Raider uniform.
Oh, yes. I was one of those happy Raiders during that time. Of course, we went to the championship game 4 times in a row and went to the Super Bowl once. So
I loved Al Davis' name for you. He said he described your style of play as a nose tackle by saying, Dave, you were an engulfer. You engulfed the opposition. You were so big you just surrounded them.
Well, believe it or not, we were the first team that went in the 34 defense that went to the Super Bowl, and everybody said that you couldn't win consistently with a 34 defense. Now almost every team plays it because of the great linebacker play, not because of the great lineman, because all I was in there was just kind of like a stump in the middle.
Pickup of 6 yards for Frank Hawkins on first down, so it'll be 2nd down and 4. Dave Pazzulli is in, a 260-pounder from Pitt. They like to use him in running situations. He's replaced linebacker Anthony Griggs. Hawkins and McCallum in the backfield, and Napoleon McCallum bouncing to the outside. Mark Harper, who's playing in place of the injured Frank Minifield, makes the tackle. Napoleon McCallum's day begins at 4:15 a.m. when he gets up and then begins to attend to duties on the USS Peleliu, stationed down in Long Beach. He was recently married about 4 months ago, but he said when he comes home from practice, he's so tired that he falls asleep about 9:30, and he's seen very little of his new bride.
Well, it's quite a feat for him to try to serve in the Navy, of course, and then play professional football.
McCallum on 3rd and 1. He's got the first down, dragged down by Ray Ellis. Raiders leading 10-0. The Colts may be catching the Jets at the right time. Joe Klecko and Marty Lyons are both out with injuries. Plunkett stepping up, avoiding the pressure. And the pass is overthrown. Jesse Hester trying to one-hand it. Got one of the Browns shaken up. Sam Clancy. There's Clancy, the former basketball star at Pitt. He was a 3rd-round draft pick of the Phoenix Suns. They cut him, and he wound up playing in the Continental League and then caught out in the NFL with Seattle. Went to the USFL for a couple of years before coming back to the NFL with Cleveland.
You know, we talked about that Denver-Kansas City game. I understand that the first score Denver did was a fake punt past 43 yards for a touchdown. Then they picked up a 7-yard fumble and returned it for a touchdown, and then a 1-yard run by Gerald Wilhoit. So that game is really almost out of reach, 21-0 in the first quarter with over 5 minutes left.
Napoleon McCallum on the carry. Dave Pazzulli makes the tackle for Cleveland, along with help from Chris Rockins.
Well, it's really important now for the Browns to stop the Raiders on this drive, because if they get it again, they're going to get it deep in their own territory, and they've got a long way to drive. We talked about the continuity. They are out of their offensive philosophy right now. They have got to calm down, get a few first downs, and get back into that flow and get a little bit of confidence to Bernie Kosar. The one thing that was important in the Miami game is that the more he threw, the more confident he became, and that's a trait of a young quarterback.
Marcus Allen, who led the NFL in rushing a year ago, has replaced McCallum, teamed up in the backfield with Frank Hawkins. Dougie Williams in motion. Plunkett with some nimble footwork. Down he goes. There's a penalty marker down. Reggie Camp and Sam Clancy combining to drop Plunkett for a loss, but Dave Pazzulli is the man who just missed him the first time around.
Well, the one critique that Plunkett has had that has not been in his favor for all these years has been that he does not have fast feet. But watch him avoid the rush. Sidesteps there, has the foresight to step up around the pile here, gets back outside there, stands up, but of course a holding call. Now this This is what it's like as an NFL quarterback. You can see, you'll watch the sack. There he avoids the press, tries to get back so he can set up, runs back over to the left under a lot of pressure, and finally Reggie Camp gets him, and there was a hold. So it's going to bring up, in fact, the punting situation. And
holding called against Bruce Davis. Ray Guy is into punt. He had a great game last week against Dallas, averaging almost 43 yards. And the Ice Cube, Gerald McNeil, the 143-pounder, trying to break one. He had an 84-yard punt return for a touchdown against the Lions. Fumbles it, and it's out of bounds. It'll be Cleveland's ball. 38-yard punt by Ray Guy, but McNeil is having his problems in this first half.
If he doesn't knock this ball out of bounds, now watch this at the end. He has the foresight, at least the knowledge as the ball is scrambling. Now watch, he swats it out of bounds.
And the Browns take over with the Los Angeles Raiders leading 10-0. The Browns are still looking for their first down of the game.
They have not established anything. Now they're going to a little different offensive philosophy. They're going to try to run the ball, I would say, in this situation. They have got to pick up some first downs.
Curtis Dickey on the carry. Dickey's to the 30, where he's brought down by the nose tackle, Bill Pickell.
And Mel, when you get in this situation, Curtis Dickey, of course, has world-class speed. There's the difference in number of plays. That's their 7th play as compared to the Raiders' 17th play. But what the Browns have got to do now is to come up with go back to what they call the basics. Run that power I formation, throw a little safe pass to the tight end, maybe to one of the wide receivers, but do something that will get them back into their offensive philosophy.
Dickey at one time was clocked at 4.26 in the 40 and 9.2 in the 100, but he's had arthroscopic knee surgery twice. Penalty marker is down as Ozzie Newsome catches the pass and is bumped out by Jerry Robinson, a 13-yard gain.
What I thought I saw there was an illegal pick, and I was watching that as he came off the backfield. Yes, it is.
Offensive pass interference.
And what this play is, when they talk about an offensive pick, and that's what Ben Dreith will tell us in a minute, what they do is you actually pick off like a basketball play.
The foul is not against Newsome, who made the catch, but against wide receiver Brian Brennan.
And what they do is they run an interference, and you run down and you actually pick off, just like a basketball pick where it's legal, but it's illegal, of course, in football, and you pick the man, and the other man, of course, comes around and comes free. And that's what the referees saw.
It'll be 2nd down and 15 for the Cleveland Browns with 2:17 remaining in the first quarter. The Raiders lead it 10-0. So we look at Brian Brennan in his 3rd year out of Boston College. Herman Fontenot is in at running back. They go with 4 wide receivers. Kozar getting pressure. The pass is batted down. Sean Jones knocked it down, and before the game, Al Davis said, we will deflect some passes in this game because Kozar will quite often throw it 3/4 or sidearm, and we'll knock some down.
Yeah, and Paul Farron that time, he just got blown over. As an offensive lineman, you have got to establish. Now, you see, Farron's number 74, he never gets his feet set. You have to jump back off that line, get your feet down, and get set. If that defensive lineman gets into you while you're dropping back, your momentum is going back, and he just bowls you over. And that's what he did that time. Sean Jones just blew over top of Paul Farron, number 74, and ran right back into Kozar's face. Farron has got to set faster.
3rd down and 15. Kozar has yet to complete a pass. He's 0 for 4, and he's in trouble, and he gets whacked again, this time by Stacy Turan. Coming on a safety blitz to nail him.
Well, that's what you want to do to a young quarterback. You want to put pressure on him, and of course the Raiders are known for pressure. We thought the absence of Howie Long in the beginning of this game would kind of set a different trend, but watch number 30 from the right side of your screen. Stacy Turan, bam, right in the back of Bernie Kozar. He never saw him coming. Of course, you can see the ball went nowhere, but they are really putting pressure. And again, the Cleveland Browns have not established anything and have not gotten a first down.
Jeff Gossett to punt. A driving spiral. Fulton Walker at the 36-yard line. Got some blocking, and he's into Brown territory at the 46. D.D. Hoggard on the stop. A 49-yard kick, but a 17-yard return by Fulton Walker. And with 1:56 remaining in the first quarter from the Coliseum, the Raiders lead the Browns. Attack with the Bengals passing attack in 1981 when they set so many club records. Jim Plunkett's pass is complete to Marcus Allen. Chip Banks wouldn't buy the fake and brings him down. 2 former teammates at USC, and Banks used to cover Allen out of the backfield and Trojan. Henry Lawrence is the injured Raider player, and it looked like he got poked in the eye by Reggie Camp.
Yeah, watch the tail end of this. You'll see him right there, flicked right in the eye. Now watch Henry Lawrence, 70, turn around and put his hand up. You see where he caught a fingernail up in the eye, and then of course they took him to the sideline. They've got medical attention there, trying to wash it out, see if in fact he scratched the eye itself. But
Henry, a 13-year veteran from Florida A&M. He was a first-round pick back in 1974. Another veteran, 11-year vet, Shelby Jordan, the ex-New England Patriot, has replaced him. Plunkett with a play-action fake. And it's right through the hands of Marcus Allen. A little bit too long for him. Eddie Johnson, a linebacker, covering, along with help from cornerback Mark Harper.
Well, watch Plunkett at the tail end of this one. You see Chip Banks throws in there. There's Bruce Davis, 79. He pushes his man in, and Plunkett goes down. But that ball could have been caught. The ball was right on the fingertips. Plunkett's getting a lot of time. They have got to disrupt his timing like the Raiders defense is in fact doing to Bernie Kosar. That's what they have to do to Plunkett. They have got to get up in his face, put those hands up, because 6 out of 11 for 118 yards, and we still have a lot of time in the second quarter. He is having a marvelous day.
Dokie Williams is wide to the right. Jesse Hester, the first-round draft pick from a year ago, split out to the left. Christensen is in a slot left. Plunkett with a perfectly thrown pass to Hester, and we've got pass interference coming up against Hanford Dixon, who was beaten on the play.
Now Cleveland has gone to 4 down linemen trying to get that pressure on Plunkett, and it still hasn't worked. I think that what happened that time, when I looked at that, I thought that Jesse Hester pushed off.
That may be the call.
I believe he did, because when he was coming down the field, Hanford Dixon was running man-to-man, and it looked like he pushed off to get that advantage. Now we may see it here. Now let's see if we can see. Jesse Hester's is 84. Now when he comes down, now right there, you see how he pushes off in the middle? He's right on the 25-yard line.
It's the call, offensive pass interference. We understand we're having difficulty with our officials, Mike, and we apologize and hope to have that situation corrected.
Well, that's what they called. What happened is the defensive back just has just as much advantage to get to that ball as the offensive receiver. Now you can see Jesse Hester saying, no, I didn't do it, wasn't me. But when he went down there, he met even up with him and gave him a little push, kind of like a shove off that you would do, and he got free, and of course the referee was down there to see that.
Ray Guy kicking to Gerald McNeil, who is second in the AFC in punt returns, averaging 10.5 yards per return.
Great.
Bearcat signaled for, but it's going to roll into the end zone. Raiders almost got to it and downed it. 43-yard kick by Ray Guy. He's a little upset at himself for not having that ball drop dead and be downed inside the 10-yard line.
Well, he's a much different punter now. You can see on his face he's upset that it didn't die. But what they go for today is net punting average. The difference between how far the ball is punted and how far the ball is returned. It's called a net average, and that's what Ray Guy is upset, because he loses 20 yards of his net average.
Ray Guy in his 14th year out of southern Mississippi. And the Browns take over at the 20-yard line. The Raiders lead it 10-0. The pitch is to Curtis Dickey, trying to get outside. The Raiders really strung out that play, and Jerry Robinson bounced him out of bounds.
And that's one of the strong points of the 34 defense. You can see 57 is in there. That's 57 is Jerry Robinson. All he's doing is going down the line, trying to play that thing out. And if Curtis Dickey doesn't turn up, all he's going to do is run out of bounds. That's what the 34 defense does for you. Gets you 4 linebackers to the play quickly, and if you don't turn up, all you're going to end up doing is running out of bounds, and that's what Curtis Dickey did. Of course, he gained about 2 yards, but it was a long run.
A reminder to our viewers that we will be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of the game. 2nd down and 7. 48 seconds remaining in the first quarter. And Kosar calls a timeout. Well, we mentioned that the Rams might use Jim Everett
to get his Cleveland offense at least starting to generate, to get back there, get 2 or 3 first downs, and get some spark back into this offensive unit.
2nd down and 7. Kosar's pass is picked off by Stacy Turan. Ozzie Newsome collared him and stopped him short of a touchdown. Turan with his 2nd interception of the year.
Well, Stacy Turan looked like he was the intended receiver on this play. He's playing man-to-man coverage. When he ran out, he caught it down by his knees, and young Bernie Kosar has really got to be upset.
It's only the 5th time he's been intercepted this year.
Now, of course, they're reading the eyes of the quarterback. Look at how Stacy Turan steps in front. Great hands. These Raider defensive backs work on their hands, and you can see he goes down the sideline, and just a hand there. Looks almost like a face mask at the tail end of there.
That's what we've got.
15-yard penalty.
The big one. 15-yard penalty against Kevin Mack.
You notice how Ben Dreith seems to emphasize that's a 15-yard penalty.
I've been seeing Ben Dreith in my dreams for years. We go way back. He officiated a high school basketball game that I played in the Colorado State High School Championships many years ago.
Well, that was a few moons back.
Stacy Turan with his 2nd interception. He's having a fine year. He is also 2nd on the team in tackles. Free safety Van McElroy leads the team in tackles with 55. Turan entered the game with 52.
Well, one thing these Raiders defensive backs do, a lot of different things, but one thing they work on is great finger strength. The hand, they work with a speed bag. They work a lot with putty in their fingers, strengthening up those hands. They have a lot of little tricks that they use. And again, look at this field position for the Raiders.
1st and goal, it's Marcus Allen inside the 5-yard line. Brought down by Bob Golick. And let's go to Ahmad Rashad, who has Jim Everett's first NFL touchdown. 2nd down, goal to go at the 2-yard line. And the Raiders will call a timeout. Well, that's the end of the quarter. Well, the Raiders, Angeles Coliseum, and as the stats indicate, the Raiders totally dominating.
Well, they have no first downs. The Browns do not. They have no yards passing, 20 yards rushing, and they have had 11 plays. The Raiders have had double that, 22, and it looks as if the Raiders are going to go up on top. They're on the 3-yard line. They've got 2nd down and 3 yards to go. And really, it's been a game of field position and frustration for Cleveland. They have not had good field position. They have yet to establish any continuity whatsoever on offense.
Steve Strahan is in at running back. 2nd down, goal to go from the 3-yard line. Frank Hawkins over the top. Hawkins doesn't get a chance to carry the ball very often. He's primarily a blocker. He carried the ball an average of 25 times a game in college at Nevada Reno, but with the Raiders only about 5 or 6. They understand Henry Lawrence has a scratched eye but should return. 3rd down, goal to go from the 3. Plunkett with a pump fake. Get to the end zone. Wide open is Christensen. Jim Plunkett with his 2nd touchdown pass of the game.
He had a choice on this. He could have picked up Marcus Allen immediately. He had Marcus Allen wide open. Now watch this. You'll see when he comes out of the backfield. He fake pumps. Look at Marcus Allen making the right. And all of a sudden he says, no, wait a minute. Now hold a second. There's Todd Christensen. He is even more open. Look at that. No one around Todd Christensen. And he had all day to throw it.
So it's 16-0 in favor of the Raiders. Chris Barr's kick is good. And with 14-17 remaining in the 2nd quarter, the Raiders now lead the Browns 17-0. He's hammered. The ball pops loose. And it looks like the Browns have recovered. Major Everett pounced on it after McNeil fumbled the football. Marty Schottenheimer has put so much emphasis on his special teams because he feels that you can have difficulty offensively or defensively from game to game. So the thing you've got to win is that kicking game.
But the one thing you don't want to do is press. And that's what it looks like the Cleveland special teams is doing now. That ball was 2 yards deep in the end zone. You're going to get it out on a 20 anyway. Why take a chance and break it? Of course, a fumble like that could have just been destroyed. The Cleveland Browns. They need to get something rolling, though.
The Raiders leading 17-0. First down for the Browns at the 20. Bernie Kosar still looking for his first completion. Hand off to Kevin Mack. Got a blocker in front of him. He had big number 69, Dan Fike, the right guard, pulling out in front of him on the play.
And how would you like to be a cornerback to come up and try to hit Dan Fike as he's leading out there, rushing down? Look at there. That's the possessions that the Browns have had. They've started on their own 16, 20, 23, and 20, and you can see the results. 3 punts and an interception.
This is a team that had nearly 600 yards in total offense Monday night against Miami. They have been stopped cold this afternoon. Second down. And 3. The penalty marker down. Sean Jones shooting through there.
It's going to be Larry Williams offsides. I believe he started about a count early.
Start offense number 70, 5 yards.
Marty Schottenheimer calls Larry Williams the Caterpillar tractor because he hit him, he sticks him, and he keeps on going. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television.
KSBW TV 8, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. First in local news.
23 mark of the second quarter. Second down and 7 for the Browns. Reggie Langhorne is in motion. Curtis Dickey on the carry. And Mitch Willis brings him down. Late flag thrown. The fight is broken out.
Well, we had to have a fight with the Raiders. Of course, they're known for intimidation. They play a very intimidating style of football. They did when I was here. What they do is they continually talk at you. And as a football player, when you're getting the stuffing beat out of you, you can see you always get the guy who hits second, supposedly.
Well, what happens? Slaughter apparently kicked somebody.
Well, what happens is they jaw at you, and when you're getting beaten, you're getting the stuffing knocked out of you. The last thing you want to hear is somebody mouthing at you, and you do stupid things, and that's what Webster Slaughter, number 84, did. He evidently took a swing or took a kick at one of the Raiders, and he's going to be penalized for it.
By the way, speaking of talking, one of the Raider public relations people told me that when you played here, your nickname was Rambling Roe.
Oh, was it? That couldn't have been anybody that I know. Well, you don't want to see mistakes, and but really Cleveland has really compounded themselves. There they had first down. They had second down about 4. They got a 5-yard penalty by a foolish mistake. Now they get a personal foul, and they're even farther back. This puts a lot of pressure on your offense, especially when you're trying to get something going.
It'll be second down and 19. New England and the Rams meeting.
Kozar is that the actual penalty happened after the play was over. It was not part of the play. So therefore, the penalty is marked off from the spot, and they lose it down. So it will be, in fact, third down, about a quarter of a mile to go.
Well, Kozar should have no problem making the proper decision. He's got a double major in finance and economics.
Yeah, this could be, he doesn't want to have another costly play like that last interception.
Bernie Kozar would be a senior at the University of Miami if he had not come to the NFL early. He graduated and decided to pursue a pro career. And that would be an interesting situation if he and Vinny Testaverde were there together. Who would be the starting quarterback?
That'd be quite a decision.
Kozar is actually 12 days younger than Vinny Testaverde. Kozar will turn 23 on November the 25th. Third down and 19 for the Browns. Here comes a big rush by Townsend, and Bill Pickell sacks Kozar. He beat Dan Fike, the right guard, on the play.
And you would not believe this rush. Bill Pickell, he was a spy on this play. When he came, he didn't even come off the line hard. All of a sudden, a hole opens up, and you see the results. He just smothers Bernie Kozar. But what he was doing is he was just spying on the play, so there was no screen or anything. In the last minute, he just roared through a wide-open hole. And
Jeff Gossett will be punting from the back line of the end zone. And the Raiders are going to have excellent field position regardless of the outcome of this return. Colton Walker at midfield. Walker is downed at the 38-yard line by D.D. Hoggard. A 45-yard kick by Gossett and a 10-yard return. With 12:20 remaining in the first half, the Raiders are totally dominating play and leading 17 to Cleveland 39-yard line.
And that graphic shows where the Browns have started. Their average start has been on their own 19-yard line. And look at the Raiders. Their average start has been almost at midfield.
Jim Plunkett has thrown 2 touchdown passes, one to Dokie Williams, another to Todd Christensen, his 5th touchdown reception of the year. And a fumble, a handoff between Plunkett and Marcus Allen. The Browns have it. Recovered by Chip Banks.
Oh, that could play a big part What happened is Plunkett was going to fake this ball into the line to Marcus Allen and pull it back out. The ball was bobbled, and Chip Banks happened to be laying there, and the ball fell. And you can see he is obviously upset. He realizes that they were going for the jugular vein on that play. They were going to throw the long pass. Now watch right here. Fakes it in. Now watch. He's going to fake it into Marcus Allen right here. And as he pulls the ball back out, there the ball falls, and Chip Banks happens to be standing right there, or laying right there. But really, that's the first thing that's gone right for this Cleveland team in the first half.
Chip Banks, a big collegiate star here at USC. This is Cleveland's best field position of the game at the 41-yard line. Kozar getting a lot of pressure again. And he's down at the 44 by Matt Millen.
Well, I really thought he was going to go to Ozzie Newsome that time, but Ozzie Newsome, watch what happens to Ozzie Newsome as he comes off the ground here, off the line. He gets just pushed down into the ground, then gets stuck 5 yards off. They have a lot of respect for him. They know that Kozar goes to him an awfully lot. He has 27 catches, and right now Kozar is 0 for 6, 1 interception, 1 sack, and they really have been compounded. Their problems have just increased as this second quarter has gone on.
Mentioned Ozzie Newsome. He's caught a pass in 108 consecutive games coming into this game, the 4th longest streak in NFL history. Fontenot and Kevin Mack are the running backs. Kozar's arm hit just as he got ready to throw the football. It'll be an incomplete pass.
And Mel, one of the big questions that we had, of course, we saw that Howie Long was not going to be in the game to start this game, was whether the Raiders would in fact get pressure on Kozar. Now watch this. He's not back to his setting position yet, and there the ball is knocked out of his hands. It's tapped by a defensive lineman. You can see that a quarterback has got to have about 2.5 seconds to throw the ball. When he drops back and sets up, he has got to have about 2.5 seconds to get that ball off. And what Cleveland is doing, Piquel is one of them. The other one's Sean Jones. They're rushing in there, collapsing the pocket around him, and Kozar's not getting that time to throw.
And the Raiders will be coming hard again on a 3rd and 9 situation. Kozar still has not completed a pass. Here they come. Wide open downfield is Webster Slaughter, and that gets him out of a hole. A 36-yard gain and a first down.
This was a remarkable pass. This is coordination between a quarterback, Bernie Kozar, and Webster Slaughter, because the ball was thrown way before Slaughter turned. You may see in the tail end of this, he's throwing an out pattern. Webster Slaughter was still going in. When he turned back out, there was the ball. But that was great coordination by Kozar and Slaughter. That ball was actually thrown before he made that break.
Van McElroy made the tackle for the Raiders. It's a first down for the Browns at the Los Angeles 21-yard line. The Raiders lead at 17-0. 10:38 remaining in the second quarter. Kevin Mack, 34, and Curtis Dickey, 33, are the running backs. Cleveland really needed that big play emotionally as much as anything else. It was Kozar's first completion of the game. Curtis Dickey inside the 15 down to the 13-yard line, where he's tackled by Reggie McKenzie. Good blocking up front by the right guard Dan Pike and the right tackle Cody Rison. No change. Second down and 1. Dickey through a gaping hole and stopped at about the 6-yard line, but there's a penalty marker down as Reggie McKenzie makes the tackle on Curtis Dickey, the 7-year veteran from Texas A&M.
And the one thing you don't want to do is make a mistake, and that's what the Browns do. They're caught holding on the backside of the play. Now, when you talk about the backside, that's the side away from where the ball is being run.
Holding offense number 61, 10, second down.
He's the center. That's Mike Babb. And what he did is the play is designed to go off tackle, and he's trying to get his block. And that's why I say you don't want to press. You don't want to do anything to hurt your team. And he just hurt his team because he made a foolish play. He grabbed and held on. The referee saw it. And again, it compounds the problems. Instead of having second down, and they had a first down on about the 5-yard line, that penalty is almost 20 yards because they're back on the 23.
Second down and 11. Herman Fontenot is in at running back for Cleveland. 9:15 remaining in the second quarter. Here comes Greg Townsend on the rush. Kozar gets the pass away to Brian Brennan. Got another penalty marker down, though. Brennan knocked out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
And where this flag is thrown, it's thrown along the line of scrimmage. It can be several things. It can be an illegal release where they don't let the receiver come off the line of scrimmage, or it could have been someone moved on the line of scrimmage itself. We'll have to wait for Bister Drive.
Defense, illegal use of the hands. They'll decline a penalty and take the game at the first down.
The 11-yard pickup gives the Browns a 1st and goal to go at the 9.
And what that penalty is illegal use of hands means that you can put your hands and hit the receiver as he comes off the line for 5 yards. But once he gets past 5 yards, you cannot put your hand on him. And the Raiders, in fact, when the receiver came down into him, he was past the 5-yard marker. They chucked him or put both hands on him and caused that penalty.
Webster Slaughter splits out to the left side. Harry Holt is in at tight end. He was not expected to play. He has a torn calf muscle. Langhorne in motion. Hand off to Dickey. Dickey, who rushed for over 1,000 yards 1 year with the Colts. 1983 had 1,122 yards rushing. Reggie McKenzie on the stop for the Raiders.
And one of the interesting things as we watch Lynn Dickey, excuse me, not Lynn Dickey, I'm thinking it was Lynn Dickey, the quarterback, but Curtis Dickey, as they walk back, they took a chance with him in Cleveland. As we watch, there's an injured Raider player.
Matt Millen.
They took a chance with him in Cleveland. They said, hey, look, this guy has got some potential, and we can maybe make him a running back that he was. They paid nothing for him. They picked him up off of waivers. Ernie Accorsi, who was with Baltimore, remembered that Curtis Dickey had that world-class speed, was a #1 draft choice. And they said, hey, let's give him a chance. And he has come back and proven some dividends for them.
Oh, the Browns are on the move, but the Raiders have the lead with 8:43 remaining in the first half. 5 was shaken up on the play. He made a key play in last week's victory against the Cowboys. He stripped the ball from Herschel Walker at the 1-yard line, and Lester Hayes recovered. He's been replaced by Jamie Kimmel, who was a 4th-round pick a year ago. 2nd down, goal to go at the 6-yard line. Raiders lead 17-0. The pitch to Kevin Mack. The Raiders again stringing out the play, and Reggie McKenzie drove him out of bounds. The Browns have just had very little in the way of a rushing game or any sort of offense, as a matter of fact, in this first half.
Well, that's exactly right. They're not attacking straight on. They're trying to get wide. Now watch Kevin Mack. He should have cut back into that seam, but he's just trying to race out to the outside corner. Good block back there by one of the wide receivers, but you're just not going to get around this Raider defense. They are very quick. Their backs come up and play excellent pressure on that run. And it is just tough. The way you attack the Raiders is you attack them right up the gut, try to break those seams and get into the linebackers.
The Browns have 4 wide receivers and running back Herman Fontenot, who's an excellent receiver. 3rd and goal. Kozar's pass is complete to Brian Brennan. Did he get in? Van McElroy hit him right at the goal line and apparently stopped him short. So it'll be 4th down. Ball about 6 inches away from the end zone.
This is a tough play because watch this. You'll see how quickly. Now watch Kozar. A lot of criticism about his sidearm, but look at this throw. And watch the wide receiver. Bam. They hit you right on the line of scrimmage. He was going nowhere. That was Brennan, 86, and Van Elroy really came up to smack him. Big decision here, of course, by Marty Schottenheimer, whether they're going to, in fact, go for it. They've called a timeout to discuss it. They're 17 points down. The worst thing you want to do in this situation is not get any points. If they're held out here, then the Raiders will have that 17-point lead. The worst you want to get is 3. That's the decision that they're trying to make.
And they're now in a fullback situation, much like the Bears used the refrigerator, William Perry. They used him in this situation last week, and Harry Holt carried on an end around for a touchdown. This is 4th and goal to go. At the 1, Mack over the top. He did, yep, touchdown. Late call, touchdown. The Raiders are really upset.
Oh, they're pushing the referees. I can't believe it.
They got a penalty marker down. As
you cannot touch those referees.
Dave Pazzulli throwing the block for Mack.
I think there's an injured Cleveland player on the field. Maybe Kevin Mack. He went down hard. But I couldn't believe the Raiders. They almost attacked that referee.
Ben Dreith trying to restore a little order.
Well, it didn't look like he made it on his initial charge when he went up. And there, in fact, is one of the Cleveland Browns down. They don't think so here, do they?
Also, there's a personal foul on 45 after 15 yards on the kickoff.
Foul against James Davis of the Raiders.
Well, I don't think that Kevin Mack was in on his initial charge. Let's watch it from ground live. Now watch here. Now he jumps up. Now watch, he runs on over. Now see, as he's coming down, there he in fact is still coming down, and he rolls the ball over into the end zone. I think that's a good call. Now watch Pazzulli here. He's number 72. He's the lead blocker. He's going to run in there and get the block. Bam, he hits in hard. Now look right there. That's Matt Millen, 55. How Mack held onto that ball, I don't know. But when he came down and started rolling around, when he made contact with the ground, he in fact was in for a touchdown.
Kevin Mack was shaken up on the play, but he got the touchdown. It's his third touchdown of the year. And it's 17-6 in favor of the Raiders. Jeff Gossett, the punter, is holding for Matt Barr. Flag down. Barr's kick is good, but we've got another penalty marker.
Well, now let me ask you, if this is offsides by the Raiders, will they have 20 yards on the kickoff? Because they've already got 15 from the personal foul, and now they're going to have an extra 5. Will that give them a 20?
Good. Defense was offside. That's another 5-yard penalty. So there's 20 yards on the kickoff.
Even Ben Drake gets a kick out of it, talking with Mike Haynes, who probably doesn't think it's so funny.
Well, I didn't know you could go collectively. I hope they don't do anything before the kickoff, because they may be kicking off from inside the other team's position. In fact, they will. They'll kick off from the Raiders. I believe they will kick off from the Raiders' 45-yard line. Isn't that right? I don't believe I've ever seen that before.
Well, did Kevin Mack get in for the touchdown?
Well, I think what happened is, now watch this again. Now watch the ball, too. Now, as he's up on top, obviously he's not in there. As he's coming down, now watch, he has not made contact with the ground. Now watch him stretch out his right hand as he rolls over with the ball. See, that's what the referee saw. The referee is on the far side. When he came in, he saw Mack roll over with that ball and stretch it out. Now watch here, watch the ball again. Now, I don't know how he held on to it. There's Matt Millen comes in. Now watch at the tail end of this. You'll see as he rolls over, see, he stretches in. He hasn't made contact with the ground, so he's not down yet. There's the ball. Now look how he held on to that ball. How he did it, I don't know. But as he rolls over right there, he stretches into the end zone.
Well, the kickoff will be from the Raiders' 45-yard line.
I want to let
Would
you know
this be an interesting place to try an onside kick?
I want to let you know that's the first time in, I'll bet you, in a long while that anyone has ever kicked off in the other opponent's territory. I cannot remember the last time. I've never seen anybody kick off. Now they are, in fact, going to kick an onside. You can see all the men rushing to the far side.
Matt Barr squirts it to the left side. Did it go 10 yards?
It went 10 yards, but it went out of bounds. Now they must. Now let's see. Now they get 5 yards back, so they'll be back at the 50 kicking, I believe.
Kickoff out of bounds, 5-yard penalty. Nobody touched the ball.
Strange happenings in this first half. I think Marty Schottenheimer's probably not too pleased with the play of his special teams in this first half. That had really been a source of pride for him through the season so far. Well, among the league leaders in punt and kickoff returns and in kick coverage.
Matt Millen was over in the huddle of Cleveland. Now he's running back over. That was what Schottenheimer said. He said, get back over there with your own guys. He was over there trying to listen to what they were talking about. I couldn't believe that. Schottenheimer told him, get back over in your own huddle over there. What are you doing over here?
There's Bill Cowher, the special teams coach for Cleveland. Marty Schottenheimer said he was the only man that he interviewed for the job. He'd been the special teams captain with the Philadelphia Eagles and at one time played for the Browns. Fiery, emotional coach. When Gerald McNeil ran a putback 84 yards for a touchdown earlier this year, he followed him down the sidelines. And Marty Schottenheimer said he told him, I've got only one rule. You can run on the sidelines, but just don't run over me or you're in trouble.
Well, those special teams coaches, you know, George Allen was the one who first brought in the special teams coach. He looked one day at a reel of film and said, hey, you know, 1/3 of this film is special teams or teams, the kicking team. So let's bring in a coach to coach that. And boy, it's made quite a difference.
Barr's kickoff from the 50. And here comes Stephon Adams. Mike Johnson on the tackle.
Well, really, momentum has changed now because Cleveland's got that touchdown. It really helps Cleveland right now because they have got to come out, hold this Oakland Raider, excuse me, L.A. Raider. I say that out of flashbacks to the old days, but they've got to hold the Raiders now, maybe get another chance before halftime to come and get even just a field goal try. They've got almost 8 minutes left in the game.
7:50 remaining in the first half. The Raiders lead the Browns 17-7. Jim Plunkett with 2 touchdown passes in the first half. And off to Frank Hawkins, the 9-year veteran from Nevada Reno. Brought down by the nose tackle, Bob Golick, number 79. Golick, at one time a linebacker, was converted to nose tackle, and he said it's a lot of fun. You know, it's like throwing yourself on a grenade. He said, I've come from a 2-legged, walking, upright, thinking human being to a 4-legged, crawling, groveling, sniveling beast of burden. He said one of the sure signs of insanity is volunteering to play nose tackle in the NFL. It's your old position.
Yeah, you know, it's really kind of a thrill when you get interviewed because they don't think that you can talk as a nose tackle.
Plunkett under pressure. He's got Hester open downfield. It was almost picked off by Chris Rockins.
And I think the person who interfered with the ball was Hanford Dixon. I think Dixon came in and tapped the ball because really Chris Rockins should have had this ball. He had it zeroed all the way across the field. Now watch the tail end of this ball. You may see Hanford Dixon, number 29, put a hand up. Plunkett under a lot of pressure throws this ball as he goes down. But on the tail end of this, now watch this on the tail end. See if you see Hanford Dixon come in and put a hand up. It just kind of throws off Chris Rockins from catching that ball, and he knows he should have had it. Look at that. He jumps about 6 feet high.
Frank Minifield still has not returned at the other cornerback spot. The rookie Mark Harper has played most of the first half. Marcus Allen in there at running back. The pass is dropped by Dokie Williams. That'll bring up a punting situation.
And Cleveland should count their blessings because Dokie Williams, with his speed on a crossing pattern, the defensive secondary was rotating away from him. If he had caught that ball, he would have run 30 or 40 yards. And Plunkett knows it. He knew he threw it behind him.
Third punt of the first half coming up for the Raiders. 7:06 remaining in the half. Raiders leading 17-7. Kicking it away to Gerald McNeil, who was the first player since Tony Green in 1978 with the Redskins to run back a punt and a kickoff for a touchdown the same season. And again, good coverage by the Raiders. He's brought down, and a little scuffle breaks out again.
That was a whale of a takedown. I couldn't believe that.
34-yard punt by Ray Guy.
But you get the feeling that momentum is starting to change, come back to Cleveland's way. That one big long pass really gave them a boost, and now they are getting back into that offensive continuity and back into that flow. Their defense has just come out and held them for 3 downs. They've got the field and the ball in excellent field position, and really it seems as if it's really starting to change.
Well, Dave, you'll be happy to know that tonight on our house, Chris is field with him. It's 1st and 10 for the Browns at the Cleveland 45. 6:59 remaining in the first half. The Raiders with a 17-7 lead. Kozar sidearms one complete to his tight end Ozzie Newsome. That's his first reception, and he's now caught a pass in 109 consecutive games, but there is a penalty marker down.
Well, this may be roughing the passer because they really came on. It's either roughing the passer or holding where it's thrown, but they're bringing the ball back, so maybe in fact they're going to call. Now watch Rod Martin, 53, in here.
Offensive holding number
when he comes in there, watch this right here.
Yards, first down.
It's the second time Larry Williams has been ticketed for holding.
They're going to level him.
So that negates the reception by Newsome.
Ooh, he doesn't look like he's real happy about it. Did you see him kind of scowl at the camera? He was doing that to you.
He's a Southern Californian. He's from Mater Dei High School here in the Los Angeles area, the same school that produced former Heisman Trophy winner John Hewitt at Notre Dame. First and 20.
What'd you say about him? He hits, sticks, and runs over you?
Like a Caterpillar tractor. Hit him, stick him, and keep on going. Larry Williams. He's been caught holding twice. Passing down for Bernie Kosar. Incomplete. Clarence Weathers was the intended receiver.
It's interesting to watch Kosar's release when he throws the ball. He's been criticized a lot about being a sidearm quarterback, and he really is. Watch the tail end of this play. Watch how he releases the ball. Not over top of the ear. Look at that. Way out there. Side kind of zings the ball. Quite the difference of, say, a Plunkett who throws it straight over his ear, or someone like a Bill Kenny that throws the ball straight down from the ear straight forward. Kozar kind of slings the ball. Of course, you remember that great quarterback Sammy Ball was a slinging Sammy Ball, too.
Terry Greer, number 80, is in at wide receiver for the Browns. On 3rd and long for Kozar. Here comes the pressure, and he has to unload it. Stacy Turan was all over him coming on a safety blitz. He'd sacked him earlier. Brian Brennan thought he was interfered with or held.
I think so, too. I really did. I thought that Brennan was grabbed before the ball was thrown. Maybe we can take another peek now. He's going to come from left to right. Now, look right. There's the ball. There's the hand. Well, it was awfully close.
Lester Hayes all over him. No penalty. Lester refers to Jim Plunkett as General Jim Patton Plunkett. He said he's simply stupendous. When he came into the game last week, we thought we had a chance to beat those guys. He said Plunkett's destiny is to be the quarterback of the Raiders longer than George Blanda was. I don't know about that. 3rd down 20 for Kozar. Stepping up. Pass is complete to Fontenot. And he stopped at midfield by Bill Pickell, a 13-yard pickup, but they needed 20 for a first down.
Now, that seems like just an obvious little play, but it was interesting to see Bill Pickell. Once that ball is thrown, defensive linemen are taught by their coaches to turn and run to the ball. Pickell ran and made a tackle 13 yards downfield. Good pursuit. That's what linemen are supposed to do. Once the ball is thrown, their job's not over. They're supposed to turn and sprint back to where the ball is.
Jeff Gossett will punt. Gossett in his 5th year out of Eastern Illinois, played in the U.S. Football League. 5:33 remaining in the half. The Raiders with a 17-7 lead. Good kick by Gossett. Colton Walker signaling for a fair catch. Mark Harper tried to down it, and he kicked it into the end zone. It'll be a touchback. 51-yard punt by Gossett.
Now look at Pickell. He's in the center of your picture there. He's going to run way out over here. Now once the ball is thrown, watch what he does. There's the throw. Now watch this. Turn, sprint back to the ball. Get back there. And he's the one that comes up with the tackle. Boy, he'll get a lot of credit for that on Monday morning when they watch the films.
First down for the Raiders at the 20-yard line. Dokie Williams is wide to the right. He's got a touchdown pass. Here comes Marcus Allen. 20-25 out of bounds at the 29-yard line, chased out by Chris Rockins. Allen still playing with that sprained ankle. We saw him limping quite a bit last week against Dallas, but showed no problems there. And Lester Haynes has decked one of the Browns.
Wow, he did. I think that was Frank Hawkins that got him, wasn't it? Well, watch this. Stiff arm in the face. Good defensive play. He grabs the arm and pushes him out of bounds. But
my apologies to Mr. Hayes. It was indeed Frank Hawkins, 27 rather than 37, and he flattened Hanford Dixon.
Boy, he did. He just decked him. I don't know what brought that up, but they're continually talking back and forth.
Marcus Allen came into the game needing 13 yards to become the second leading rusher in Raiders history, and he's accomplished that feat, moving ahead of Clem Daniels, and now trying to catch Mark Van Egan, who's the all-time rushing leader.
You mean there was no penalty on that either? That really surprised me.
I don't think anyone saw it. I don't think the officials saw it.
They might not have, but he really did. It was after the play. He just hauled off and just shoved him down.
2nd down and 1 for the Raiders.
Maybe he was just helping them down.
McCallum at tailback along with Hawkins. McCallum dragged down from behind by Chip Banks. There's a lot getting into it with one of the Browns.
There's a lot of extracurricular activity. You can see the sideline. The coach there was saying, hey, he kicked him. Chip Banks grabbed his leg and kind of flipped it up in the air. There's a lot of extracurricular activity out there.
Would a good Navy man do that?
Well, I don't know, but watch the tail end of this. You'll see Chip Banks grabs him down. Now, let's see if, in fact, he does kick him. Right there, he kind of picks up his foot.
Yeah, it looked like Banks put the Hulk Hogan leg twist on him. First down at the 34-yard line. Marcus Allen. Eddie Johnson and Bob Golick combining on the stop. Allen, the Heisman Trophy winner in 1981. Jim Plunkett was also a Heisman Trophy winner at Stanford. So they got two of them in the same backfield.
Marcus saying, I'm okay, I'll just leave me in there. Of course, they're trying to rest his ankle. You know, in this last 6 games of the season, it's really important. This is really where the season is won and lost, and injuries play such an important part in this game. You want to rest people that have got injuries. That's what the Raiders are trying to do with Howie Long, but you have got to win games, too, so you have to play your stars.
2nd down and 8. Plunkett with plenty of time and completes the pass. Andy Parker on the reception, the backup tight end.
We're going to have a holding call here against the Raiders. I was watching that play, and it looked as if Sam Clancy just got yanked down to the ground. Might have been Bruce Davis.
Dan Dreif and his crew have been busy in this first half.
What the offensive linemen do, and I've never met an offensive lineman that I really liked, but what they do is when you bowl them over, they grab onto your shirt and just yank you down, pull you down on top of them. It looks like you fall over top of them.
Holding number 79, back 10, and it's 2nd down.
Bruce Davis.
Now we might be able to take a peek at this, but now watching the left of your screen. See what? Now watch right there. Now see when he gets him beat, you just push him down, shove him down, pull him to the ground. You can see them. You might even see the flag from flying in because it came flying in. Hit Bruce Davis right in the nose.
Talked earlier about how the Raiders always seem to have someone prepared when a player retires. Well, they had Davis prepared when the perennial All-Pro Art Shell stepped down.
Yep.
Davis took over for him. Shell now a member of the Raiders coaching staff. 2nd and 18. Marcus Allen. Clay Matthews on the stop with 3:10 remaining in the first half.
Well, I can't tell you how important it was for Cleveland to score in that first half and that drive that they went. They go in the locker room 17-0 at halftime. It's almost all over but the shouting. But by getting that touchdown, they're 10 points down. They can regroup as we watch the clock tick down. They may, in fact, get another chance to have an offensive possession, even get a possible field goal position. But they really have got to be juiced up because they have played terribly in the first half, but yet they're only 10 points down.
Plunkett on 3rd and 13. Fires a strike to Todd Christensen, but short of a first down. Clay Matthews put the clamps on him. Matthews, a former All-American at USC, played his college games here at the Coliseum, and Ray Guy is in to punt. So the Browns are going to have one more opportunity to score.
And it's a very important opportunity. They should get the ball somewhere around the 25 to 30 yard line, barring a big return. So they need to get about 30 or 40 yards to get in field goal position. They can easily do that on the arm of Kozar. They're going to let the clock run down now. That's what the Raiders are, in fact, doing, letting the clock run down.
And we get the 2-minute warning. So the Raiders lead the Browns 17-7, but Cleveland may have one more opportunity to... Mel Proctor with Dave Rowe back at the Los Angeles Coliseum as Ray Guy is in to punt. He's had 16 of his punts downed inside the 20 this year. Gerald McNeil at the 12. And he brings it back to the 19, an 18-yard return. Herman Fontenot threw a great block for him. We have 1:49 remaining in the half. Kozar's pass is incomplete as he tried to hook up with Clarence Weathers. Sam Seal defending for the Raiders.
Now, there's two theories of thought in this situation. The one thing that you don't want to do is throw 3 quick passes and have to punt the ball. What you want to do is pick up about 12 to 15 yards on the pass. A good pass, get close to the sideline so you can get out of bounds. Or you can throw the bomb if you have someone break. So they've got two offensive philosophies here. They've got someone breaking deep in case he breaks wide open, and they've got the underneath pass in the 12 to 15 yard range, trying to pick up enough to get a first down and get 3 more chances.
The Raiders in their dime defense with 6 defensive backs. Kozar completes the pass to Reggie Langhorne, but he's unable to go anywhere with it. James Davis makes the stop. Davis and Stephon Adams come in on the nickel and dime situations.
Surprisingly, the Raiders are going to call timeout. That's a real surprise.
Well, the Raiders are charged with a timeout with 1:32 remaining in the first. A 3rd down and 3 situation for Bernie Kozar. 3 wide receivers, actually 4 wide receivers, and the fine pass receiver, Fontenot. And here come the Raiders. Kozar under pressure. Complete to Brian Brennan, but I don't know how Bernie Kozar got that pass off, because Sean Jones was all over him.
And Sean Jones, what he did that time was guess the snap count. He guessed that it was going to be snapped on 2, and he took off and he just plowed into Bernie Kozar. You can see the tail end of it. But he guessed the snap count and rushed the passer. That's something the Raiders do a lot of. You get into almost a feel for when the ball is going to be snapped. He took a chance that, hey, I think it's going to be snapped on 2. He guessed right, and it put a lot of pressure on Kozar.
The Raiders are going to get the ball back with quite a bit of time left. Good kick by Gossett. Colton Walker backs up to the 21. And he's down at the 29-yard line. A 51-yard punt by Jeff Gossett. Ralph Malone made the tackle for Cleveland.
Well, if he ever needed a good punt, Gossett needed it there, and he did get it 51 yards. The more important thing was that they had very little return. We do have a Brown that's down on the field.
There's D.D. Hoggard, who has replaced the injured Harper. Looks like Harper's all right, though. Going to stay in there. So D.D. Hoggard was all set to play, and Harper came back in. So I think I'd feel all right. Why don't you go back to the bench? Plunkett on first down, in trouble. Down he goes, sacked by Chip Banks.
Well, of course, you know, I talked about that play in the championship game when they were playing in Cleveland. It was a frozen field. I'll never forget it, and I'm sure this is the picture of the play itself. This is Brian Sipe. He drops back and look at Ozzie Newsome, and watch what happens. This is the one that he catches. Now, this is not. Now, here's the one that's intercepted. Now, they were in easy and field goal range. He throws the interception. There's Mike Davis. He comes up with a big interception. You can see the Raiders prevail. They go on to the Super Bowl, and no one could believe that they didn't kick a field goal. At that time, they were behind 16-14. Field goal would have given them the win.
Here comes Marcus Allen ripping off a big gainer to the 34-yard line, a pickup of 13 yards. Chris Rockins made the stop, and the Raiders call a timeout. They have 1 timeout remaining. 44 seconds left in the half. Los Angeles with a 17-7 lead.
Well, you know what they're talking about over on the sideline. That's Tom Flores without the hat on to the right. He is telling Plunkett, we've got to go downfield. We need to pick up 30 or 40 yards. We've got to get a pass to either Dokie Williams or Jesse Hester on one of the fly patterns. See if they can get one-on-one coverage. Plunkett is very quick to pick up who is in one-on-one coverage. Every zone defense rotates around. Either they rotate strong or they rotate weak to a player, but there is almost always someone in there who is in one-on-one coverage, and that's Plunkett's job now, to pick up that person, to see who that is, who is going to be in that one-on-one situation.
Tom Flores wouldn't tell us which defensive coach is the decoy and which is really calling the signals. Plunkett going long for Hester, and it's off his fingertips. Jesse Hester had beaten Hanford Dixon on the play.
Well, that's exactly like I called it. What they do is Plunkett, the wily old veteran Plunkett, looked off to his right and then lofted that bomb to Jesse Hester, and that he just misjudged it, because that ball. Now watch Hester all the way off the line. It's just a fly pattern. Now he puts on the afterburners right here. He sees the ball there. Now watch how close. Oh, that ball. Oh boy, that ball was touchdown written all over it. Look at his face. You can just see in his eyes the disgust. He knows he should have had it.
Jesse Hester, a first-round pick a year ago. He's averaging 22 yards per reception. I'd like to have another shot at that one. With 38 seconds left, Ray Guy will punt. Almost got it blocked. McNeil running up the field at the 35, and he'll go out of bounds at the 40. Only a 32-yard punt. Ray Ellis almost blocked that Ray Guy punt. At the half. First down for the Browns at the 40. 30 seconds left. Kozar with a screen pass to Herman Fontenot. Eludes Bill Piquel, and out of bounds at the 44-yard line. Chased out by Mike Haynes with 21 seconds remaining.
Now there was another example of Bill Piquel being the spy. On that play, what he is doing is he is picking up the screen. He's supposed to rush the passer under control. When he sees the screen, he's supposed to run out to it. If he doesn't get out and make Fontenot turn around to come behind him, he's down the sideline for a 15 or 20-yard gain. So an excellent play by Bill Piquel. Right now, the Kosar has got to get his team to about the 35-yard line of the Raiders in order to get in field goal range.
The Browns are out of timeouts. 21 seconds remaining, 2nd and 6. Kosar stepping away from Greg Townsend, and the pass is intercepted by Van McElroy. McElroy is brought down near midfield. 7 seconds remaining. Reggie Langhorne made the tackle.
You see
McElroy with his 2nd interception, his 7th on the season.
This ball just sails away. I didn't know who it was intended for, but it just sails away. It looked like it was going to Reggie Langhorne. But now watch what happens on this play. When he comes up, gets up to about midfield, and he's going to fall down. He's got 7 seconds on the clock. It's not enough time to run a deep pattern and pick up 15, 20 yards. So I would look for the Raiders in this situation. Either go deep on a long pattern, hope for an interference penalty, or else to try to pick up about 12 yards on an out pattern and perhaps get one more field goal attempt.
Plunkett looking long, throwing for Dokey Williams. Looked like there was some contact downfield. Time has expired. The Raiders want a flag. Dokey Williams just outrunning Ray Ellis and Hanford Dixon.
Well, there is a flag on the far sidelines, but it was thrown up near the line of scrimmage.
Illegal contact, number 51 defense, 5-yard penalty, and one more play.
Well, half cannot end on a foul against the defense, so we'll have one more play. By the way, I stand corrected. Dave Van McElroy has 1 interception. Stacy Turan had the other. Kosar's been intercepted twice.
Right. Well, on this play, it's going to bring up a 2nd down, which is pretty insignificant. The time has expired on the clock, but of course the game cannot end on a defensive penalty. So now if you're Cleveland, you want to go into what you call a 1-10 defense. 1 guy up in the line and 10 guys deep. You don't want to be beat. There's no time on the clock. You just don't want to be beat deep, and that's what Cleveland almost has been beaten twice deep. Now, they may try a field goal from this situation. It would be about a 63-yard field goal, I believe.
Would tie the NFL record.
Now, I don't want to see this made because my rear end's in the Hall of Fame because of this.
The longest by Chris Barr, a 55-yarder against the Bengals in 1979. This one from 63 yards out, and it'll be short. Way short. Chris Rockins bringing it back. And he's finally knocked out of bounds. And now a little scuffle breaks out. Been a wild first half, a lot of penalties, a lot of pushing and shoving. There's Big Art.
Following his fine relief performance last Sunday at Dallas. And immediately he goes to the guy he hit twice for scores a week ago, Dokey Williams, for a 46-yarder to give them a 7-0 lead. Later, a 3-yard flip to Todd Christensen for another Plunkett touchdown.
And a very good catch by
the offensive line coach of this Cleveland team. I'm sure he told his offensive line that in the halftime, give Bernie Kosar more time to pick up his wide receivers and throw the ball.
And Gerald McNeil trying to run it back for the Cleveland Browns. He has yet to break a big one. This time brought down at the 25-yard line to open the second half.
Well, there's the telltale stats.
8 penalties in the first half. The Raiders had 4. The handoff to Kevin Mack as the Browns try to establish a running game to open the second half. And Mack is tackled by Mike Haynes. Mack, who rushed for over 1,000 yards as a rookie a year ago. He broke Jim Brown's rookie rushing mark at Cleveland with 1,104 yards. He and Ernest Biner were a great 1-2 punch, both rushing for over 1,000 yards, and the two of them combined for 2,105 yards. That's more than 15 other teams had rushing.
Well, and one of the criticisms that Bernie Kosar had was all I did was hand off last year. I'm a throwing quarterback. He's been somewhat critical in times. He said we have to go downfield more. We have to throw to some of our wideouts. But he has to find also Ozzie Newsome in this second half.
Kozar is buried. Greg Townsend, the first man to get to him. Townsend starting at defensive tackle in place of the injured Howie Long this afternoon.
And there is the exact thing that I was talking about when we started this half. They have got to give him more time. He has got to have the ability. The quarterback sets up at about 7 yards and steps to about 5 yards when his throw. Kozar, as he's going back, he's under such tremendous pressure. He is almost throwing off his back foot. He just does not have the ability to stand up in the pocket and step forward. They're putting a lot of pressure on this Cleveland offensive unit.
There's the injured Howie Long, sidelined with a pulled hamstring and a bruised knee. Kozar has been sacked twice. Browns have done a pretty good job protecting him this year. They had allowed only 26 sacks coming into the game. Kozar throwing on the run, and he completes the pass to Clarence Weathers, the fourth-year wide receiver out of Delaware State. Greg Townsend again applying a lot of pressure to Kozar and knocked him down. He's getting up slowly.
Well, Kozar barely saw this ball get off because a lot of pressure. They ran a stunt where they run the two defensive linemen run one way, and he comes all the way around. You see him coming around the backside, and Kozar just gets the ball off. Of course, he does not see it completed. It's completed for a short 3rd yard. Now it's going to bring up 4th down on a punt.
Jeff Gossett had a great first half. He punted 6 times for an average of almost 47 yards per kick. Fulton Walker is deep for the Raiders. Raiders almost blocked it. Walker with a fair catch at the 31, a 38-yard punt by Gossett, and it was Greg Townsend who almost blocked the punt.
I think Greg Townsend looked at his hands when he came off that one because that ball almost was blocked. He probably felt the wind from that ball going by his hands. It was very close to being blocked.
So the Raiders take over at the 31. Jim Plunkett completed 9 of 18 passes in the first half for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. Marcus Allen gets the call on first down. There's a penalty marker down. Eddie Johnson makes the tackle for the Browns.
And that's going to go against the Raiders. It's going to be called against Henry Lawrence for a tackling. He literally tackled the man playing across to him, who was number 96, Reggie Camp. We have another Cleveland Brown down.
They lost Frank Minifield in the first half. Eddie Johnson is the injured player. Wilson had been intercepted 7 times in his last 6 quarters and also fumbled twice. As we look at Bernie Kozar, who's taken his lumps so far. 1st and 20 following the holding penalty, and Marcus Allen drops the pass. Tried to run with it before he had it. Second down and 20 for the Raiders, and they stay on the ground with a handoff to Frank Hawkins, wrapped up by Big Sam Clancy, number 91, the 6'7", 260-pounder.
And you hate to talk about a pivotal play, but this 3rd down is going to be a pivotal play for the Cleveland Browns. If they're able to hold the Raiders here, they'll force a punt from about the 25-yard line. They'll again get great field position. Plunkett is 9 of 19 for 136 yards, but this is really a big play for the Cleveland Browns. They have got to stop this 3rd down.
Tim Moffitt is put out wide to the right side. Marcus Allen and Dokie Williams to the left. Plunkett's pass is caught by Moffitt, his first reception of the game, but short of a first down. Mark Harper made the tackle, a gain of 12, but they needed 18 for a first down. The Raiders will have to punt.
Well, if time was a factor, Jim Plunkett had a week back there. He could have eaten a sandwich back there. The Browns did not rush. They only rushed 3 linemen. They had 1 going soft. And as we look at the 10-minute ticker,
McNeil standing back at the 16-yard line. The Ice Cube, named by punter Jeff Gossett because he's slippery and elusive, but he's not elusive this time as he's crushed by Steve Strahan.
That's what you call guessing the wrong way to try and get outside, and he did. He guessed the wrong way, and he got smashed.
The Ice Cube melts under the wilting pressure of Steve Strahan, and with 10:56 left in the 3rd quarter, the Raiders lead by 10. Monday night in the Browns' victory over the Dolphins, Bernie Kozar passed for 275 yards in the first half en route to a 401-yard night, but he was held only 76 yards passing in the first half of this game. First down for the Browns at the 20. Langhorn in motion. Curtis Dickey. Reggie McKenzie wraps him up for the Raiders.
But let me make a correction there, too, or not a correction, but an emphasis to that graphic. He was not under the rush that he is under today. the Raiders are bringing a lot of linebackers. They're shooting a linebacker just about every time to get someone up in the face of Kozar to collapse that pocket, to get pressure on to try to rattle him, and they've been very, very effective in this first half.
The Miami Dolphins are last in the AFC in defense. The Raiders are number 1, and the difference is quite obvious. Kevin Mack trying to get outside and driven out of bounds. He was trying to follow the block of the pulling right guard, Dan Fike, number 69, but Reggie McKenzie did a good job on the play.
Well, that was an interesting play to watch Fike get out there. If he gets that block, it allows Kevin Mack to set up the running back where he's going to cut. But Fike, when he came out there, he tried to kick him out. The running back had to go outside, and consequently, he just runs out of bounds. The defensive player played that very well.
Fike was signed with the Browns as a free agent. He previously played with the Jets and Tampa Bay. Neither Mack nor Dickey has really been able to get going. Mack has carried 6 times for 26 yards. Dickey 7 for 28. Herman Fontenot is in there now on 3rd and 2. Kozar to Fontenot. He's got a first down and out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Jerry Robinson chased him out. Fontenot, a second-year man from LSU. He was a wide receiver in college and was not drafted, but his coach at LSU, Bill Arnsparger, and Marty Schottenheimer's brother, Kurt, an assistant coach at LSU, recommended him to the Browns.
And what he did that time, he is a safety valve. He is the last person. He's not a primary receiver on that play. As Kozar looked downfield, he saw Fontenot come out of the backfield. After he stopped, waited to pick up the blitz, there was none, circled out of backfield, and Kozar found him. That helped Kozar a lot. That's a momentum builder. That's a confidence builder, and that's what Bernie Kozar needs. Now he's got a mix up there.
Confusion as he moves Harry Holt from the right side to the left, the tight end. Curtis Dickey straight ahead. And again, it's Reggie McKenzie on the tackle. He's been busy. And another fight breaks out. Matt Millen is getting into it with Larry Williams of Cleveland.
I don't think that Matt Millen liked the caterpillar running up his chest.
Would you?
No, I don't believe I would. Matt Millen, of course, is a very emotional player. Now, see. Okay, let's go on.
A gain of 5 yards on first down. One of the keys to Kozar's success Monday night was his ability to complete passes on first down. He completed about 75% of his first down passes. Mack is a lone setback. They flank Dickey out wide to the right. And Mack is stopped cold, but on the second effort may have gotten a yard. It was Matt Millen who hit him first with help from Greg Townsend.
The one thing that the Raiders do, Mel, is that they play, the cornerbacks can play man-on-man coverage. Now that allows your 2 safeties and your linebackers to pick up all the rest. They continually ask Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes to play one-on-one coverage, and they do such a great job. Lester Hayes has only got 1 interception this year, I believe he has. No, he doesn't have any interceptions, excuse me. And everybody said, well, Lester's having a bad year, but nobody throws to him. So that lets everybody else play zone coverage on the other people. And you can see he is a remarkable player. He has great speed, tremendous moves, and he has been in the Pro Bowl several years.
Kozar calling a timeout. You see Hayes wearing number 37. He has 37 career interceptions. He's just 2 back of Willie Brown, the all-time leader here with the Los Angeles Raiders. 3rd down and 2 for Bernie Kozar and the Browns at the Cleveland 45. There were 4 wide receivers. Kozar's pass is complete to Brian Brennan. Brennan is an interesting receiver, a guy a lot like Steve Largent of Seattle, who doesn't have much speed, but he runs very precise pass routes and has good hands.
Well, that's a sign of a great receiver when he can run those pass routes and can be exactly where he's supposed to be at the precise time, because all the pass routes, as we look at the time.
At least he was supposed to play in today's game, but out with a concussion. Kozar with play action. In trouble. And down he goes again. Sacked for the 3rd time. Sean Jones gets credit for the sack. That's his 9th of the season. He leads the team in sacks. 275-pounder from Northeastern.
Now watch when he sets up. All right, now there he's set. Now look, automatically he's in trouble. That's showing that the pocket is collapsing. You see 55 in there. That's Matt Millen. 57 is Jerry Robinson. Those are 2 linebackers that are blitzing. That's why the Raiders are getting pressure, because they're bringing those linebackers. They're able to play man-on-man coverage, the likes of Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes out there playing man-on-man coverage, and they're giving them time.
2nd down and 18. Kozar going long for Brennan, and he's got it. Pushed out of bounds at the 6-yard line. Brian Brennan getting behind Lester Hayes and a 51-yard reception.
And that is the exact reason that I'll show you the reason why there's a 51-yard completion. That time the Raiders did not bring those linebackers. You're going to see 3 defensive linemen. Each one gets picked up. You'll see Piquel, he's picked up. Sean Jones is picked up. Kozar has time to find his wide receiver, and he in fact does find his wide receiver way downfield. 51-yard reception. Quite a pass play.
You mentioned that Brennan doesn't have the great speed like some of the other wide receivers for Cleveland, but he got behind Lester Hayes.
Well, Lester Hayes plays a zone coverage on the man. When he plays man-on-man, he thinks that his defensive line is going to get to him before that man can get 12 to 15 yards downfield. And Lester gambled that time, thinking it was going to be a different pattern, and he lost.
1st and goal to go at the 6-yard line. Curtis Dickey driving down to about the 3-yard line. Mike Babb, the center, and the right guard. Dan Fike leading the way for Dickey.
How quickly you can go from a hero to a goat as a defensive back. 1 minute, Lester Hayes is guarding everybody, intercepting the ball, knocking him down. No one can play one-on-one. And in one play, your entire game can change. You can go from the hero to the goat to be beat by a 51-yard pass and put your team in a lot of pressure.
James Davis has replaced Mike Haynes in the secondary for the Raiders. It's 2nd down, goal to go at the 2-yard line. They've got big Dave Pazzulli in there, the 260-pounder to block. Kevin Mack following Pazzulli, and he's in for his 2nd touchdown. He got a fine block from Pazzulli and also from George Lilja, who was in there. Kevin Mack with his 2nd touchdown of the game and his 4th of the season, and it's now 17-13 Raiders.
And what Mack does is find the seam. You can see he makes a quick cut back there, finds a little seam, and scratches back in the end zone. He did get 2 fine blocks in there, one by Lilja and the other one by Pazzulli, but he really found the seam back behind that play, and they are right back in this ball game, 17-14. If Mr. Barr makes this extra point.
Jeff Gossett holding for him. And Barr's conversion kick is good. So with 6:28 remaining in the 3rd quarter, the Browns are back in the game. It's the Raiders 17 and Cleveland. Kevin Mack scoring from 2 yards out to draw the Browns to within 3.
Now watch Pazzulli. His block is outside. Now watch Kevin Mack cut back inside and just runs over Stacy Turan there, number 30. But good choice by Kevin Mack.
Holden Walker at the 3-yard line. And he's out to the 24, brought down by Scott Nicholas of Cleveland. Walker, who once ran a kickoff back 98 yards for a touchdown at Super Bowl 17. Coverage has been pretty good on the part of both these teams, but neither has been able to break a punt or a kickoff return.
Awesome. It's a game between 2 teams that are really making good adjustments. Neither team has really made a mistake in this game, even though Kozar has thrown the interceptions. But really, you see the entire momentum changing. The Raiders had everything going right for them. Several times they started in great field position. But now Cleveland has come back to control the line of scrimmage a little bit better. They're holding them. They're not allowing them to get those 2 and 3 first downs.
Marcus Allen is in the game, and he takes the handoff from Jim Plunkett. Runs right into Eddie Johnson, who was shaken up earlier.
But that's a good example of how they're controlling that line of scrimmage. They give Marcus Allen about 1 yard. He takes the ball so deep in the backfield, he can see that cutback. He's got great vision. He has great vision into the hole. He sees the seam. Let's see how far back he takes the ball. When he makes his cut, he can see wherever there's a seam. There was no seam because right now Cleveland is controlling the line of scrimmage.
Marcus Allen, who passed Clem Daniels, moved into the number 2 spot in all-time rushing for the Raiders today. Mark Van Eegen is a leader with 5,907 yards. Plunkett hits Todd Christensen. Brought down close to a first down by Mark Harper and Chip Banks.
And that time, Plunkett had all day to pass the ball because Cleveland is not, they're still not getting a lot of pressure. Golick got a late charge in there. Watch Golick here. He's number 79 in the middle of your picture. He's going to come around. Now, he gets a late charge in there, but look at Plunkett. He's just sitting up in there. You see Golin's clawing, scratching, trying to get back there. But really, Plunkett is standing in the pocket. He's got a lot of time.
Christensen picks up the first down at the 35-yard line. 5:03 remaining in the third quarter. The Raiders with a 17-14 lead. Frank Hawkins in motion. Marcus Allen wrestled down by Golick.
Well, you want to see what it's like to play nose tackle in the NFL? Bob Golick, number 79. There he is over center. Now watch his job. His job is to get into the center, not let the center get position on him, stay square. Now once he gets back, he has to fight back across the center space. He does a good job on that play. That's a good job for a nose tackle.
He was an All-American wrestler in high school and at Notre Dame, and he feels that his wrestling background really helps him play that position.
I don't think he has a neck, does he?
Second down and 5. Hawkins and Allen in the eye. Marcus Allen hit at the line of scrimmage by Sam Clancy. And let's go now to Ahmad Rashad in New York.
Take the Indianapolis Colts even up, and they were 16-point underdogs against the Jets. He may have his finest hour.
Plunkett on 3rd and 5. Going long, and it's off the fingertips of Dokey Williams, who'd gotten behind Hanford Dixon.
Oh, and Dokey Williams is really upset. He knows that he was tripped. He lost his footing. Now, we might be able to see this again, but he lost his footing. He thinks that he was tripped up. Now, watch right there. You look at the defender. See right there where he starts to stumble? He thinks that he was tripped up. Boy, that was awfully close. Of course, we got 2 referees, one on the top of the screen, one on the bottom of the screen, and they're watching it. Evidently, they were close up on it, and they did not see the interference by the defender. Dokey Williams, sir, thought he was, but Hanford Dixon probably is. You know, we talked about the cornerbacks in this game. If Hayes and Haynes are not the best for the Raiders, then Minifield and Dixon certainly are, because they just play magnificent football like that cornerback.
The Ice Cube, Gerald McNeil. Ray Guy gets off a dandy kick. McNeil at the 11. Just can't break one for any sizable yardage. A 49-yard kick by Ray Guy. Frank Hawkins down there on the coverage for the Raiders.
And anytime you get that type of a height where you let 6 or 7 of the Raiders were down within 5 yards, there's just no way that you're going to break it. If we look
Eagles and Green Bay up to Tampa Bay, 31-7. Have more scores coming up after this play. Ozzie Newsome in motion. He still hasn't caught a pass. That's his first reception of the day, and that extends his streak to 109 consecutive games in which he's caught a pass. He had a reception in the first half, but it was called back because of a penalty.
And I was getting a little bit concerned for Ozzie because he is a magnificent player. He really has played well.
Second down and 5. Brian Brennan in motion. Curtis Dickey stopped cold. Greg Townsend was the first man to hit him. And then Jerry Robinson finished him off. Townsend normally in there in pass rush situations, but Howie Long is sitting this one out with an injury, so Townsend is playing against the run and the pass.
Also watch Curtis Dickey go to the outside. There's Howie Long. He is a remarkable player. He's from Villanova University, which you wouldn't think would be a great powerhouse of football, but boy, they really produced a winner in him. He just comes at you all the time.
When a great player retires, the school often retires his number, or when he graduates, I should say, they retire his number, but when Long left Villanova, they retired the program. Pass complete to Brennan. Mike Haynes right there with him to make sure he's not going anywhere.
Well,
and a punting situation.
We just got an update on that Rams score, and you hear the fans, they're cheering a little bit too. Jim Everett has passed another touchdown, a 20-yard touchdown. That's his 3rd touchdown, and the Rams are now leading New England 28-16.
This is the 8th punt of the game for Gossett. Bolton Walker awaiting the kick. Good punt. Walker at the 31, 40, to the 45-yard line. A 46-yard punt by Gossett, a 13-yard return to Anthony Griggs was down there in the coverage. We have 1:42 left in the third quarter. The Raiders leading the Browns 17-4. First down for the Raiders at the 45. Like one of the Browns is across early, and a penalty marker is down. Marcus Allen takes it into Cleveland territory. Looks like Chip Banks moved early, the left side linebacker for the Browns.
Well, there's very little doubt on that one. He was offsides. The decision is just whether you take, it'll be first down and 5 or second down and about 4. So I believe they'll take first down.
Offside 56. They'll take the penalty. It's first down.
Thank you, Mr. Dright.
So you played, he was a referee.
Mm-hmm.
Is that when they invented the game of basketball back when you played? The old Peach.
I don't go that far back. Give me a break. But that's how he got started as an official. He and Pat Haggerty, another NFL official, were high school teachers together at Lincoln High School in Denver, Colorado, and coached at various times. Just worked their way up from officiating high school games to the NFL, and they've both been in the league for years. Marcus Allen off right tackle. Seems to be running much better in the second half than he did in the first half or last week.
And now is when the Raiders really get to you as a defensive unit. I know what it's like to play against them, and I know what it's like to play for them. What they do now is they're going to play power football, very conservative. Use Marcus Allen, see if they can just run power football, run the fullback up in there, pick up 3 or 4 yards, see if you can break Marcus for 6 or 7 yards, throw a few conservative passes, and just eat up the clock, eat this third quarter down to nothing, get into the fourth quarter and have a lead.
He's averaging 5 yards a carry. On first down, it's Allen again, but he slipped and lost his footing. And let's go back to New York for an update with Ahmad Rashad. Thank you, Dave. How do you feel about breaking in a rookie quarterback? We saw what the Denver Broncos did with John Elway. Dave Rowe, as we begin the fourth quarter, and this game may come down to a battle between the kicking bars. Well, the Raiders leading 17-14. Matt Barr for Cleveland. Older brother Chris for the Raiders. Jim Plunkett's pass complete to Dokie Williams. To the 10, to the 5. Touchdown! And Williams and Hanford Dixon getting into again. Looked like Dokie was taunting him. They had an altercation earlier. It's Williams' second touchdown reception of the game. A 43-yard bomb from Plunkett. He's really rubbing it in.
Yes, he is. He's pointing the finger at him. And what happened to Hanford Dixon is he lost his cushion. He was running man-on-man and had to turn his back on the ball. He did not see the ball when it was thrown out. Dokie Williams was able to look back, pick up the ball, and actually Hanford Dixon overran the ball because the ball was thrown behind him.
3 catches for 113 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Touchdown, an 85, a 15-yard penalty for taunting and baiting the opponent. 15 yards on a kickoff.
All right, Ben.
Taunting and baiting, that'll get you 15.
Well, that's the intimidation factor that we talked about. You're not allowed to intimidate someone, and that's what the Dokie Williams did on that play when he caught that touchdown pass. Instead of just catching it, going in the end zone and showing by his results, he wanted to let him know it with his mouth, and his mouth overran a 15-yard penalty.
It's 23-14 Raiders. Jim Plunkett with his 3rd touchdown pass of the game. And Chris Barr's kick is good. So with 14:51 remaining in the game, the Raiders now lead the Browns 24-14. Plunkett with his 3rd touchdown pass of the day, a 43-yard bomb to Dokie Williams.
But watch Mark Harper. I gave Hanford Dixon credit for that being missed, but what happened is it was Mark Harper who's filling in for Frank Minifield, who got beat on the play. Dixon just came over to make the tackle. You can see the ball go in his face. He smashed the ball in his face. Then the referee blew the penalty, threw the penalty, and called him for baiting and taunting. So now the Raiders are going to kick off from the 20-yard line. I haven't seen twice the Raiders have had kickoffs. Once they received it from inside their own field. I never saw a team kick off in the other opponent's territory, and now they're kicking off from their own 20.
Chris Barr with a short kickoff. It'll be taken by one of the up men, Fontenot. And Herman Fontenot brings it back to the 45, so Cleveland can have pretty good field position. Proctor with Dave Rowe in Los Angeles as Cleveland goes to work at the Brown 45, 14:42 remaining in the game. And the Raiders lead it 24-14. Curtis Dickey and Kevin Mack are the running backs. Kozar pressured, wrestled down by Sean Jones. The fourth time today that the Raiders have sacked Bernie Kosar as Sean Jones beat the left tackle Paul Ferrin.
And what you want to do as a defensive player when you rush the quarterback, if you're able to get up underneath the offensive lineman and stand him up. Now watch on the right of your screen. You're going to see Paul Ferrin get stood up and then he gets blown over. What you have got to do is you have got to set back, as we talked about earlier, and not get out of your crouch. You're in a blocking position. If you once come up, then you're just even with him. The defensive player has great leverage, and that's what Sean Jones is doing. He has great leverage against Paul Ferrin.
Jones replaced the injured Lyle Alzado a year ago after he tore his Achilles tendon and eventually retired. He's got 2 sacks today. Kosar out of the backfield to Herman Fontenot. And he's run out of bounds by Sam Seal.
Quite a difference a few days makes from Monday night till today. Kosar is under a lot of pressure every time he throws the ball. This time when he threw the ball, he even got hit just as he threw the ball. That time it was just a little dump pass to his backs. The Raiders have thrown all caution to the wind. That's the man they want to get, and they're putting, watch this. There's the pass, boom. See when somebody's right in his face.
In road games following a Monday night game during the regular season, the Cleveland Browns have gone 1-4. They're trailing by 10 points in this game. Brennan in motion. Kosar unloads under pressure. Incomplete, intended for Reggie Langhorne, but he had to get rid of it because Stacy Turan was coming out of safety blitz.
You can see Kosar getting up from the ground again. That time the Raiders didn't try to hide it. They brought all the men up on the line of scrimmage. Now watch how quickly. There's 56, Jeff Barnes running in. Rod Martin is in there. Stacy Turan is in there. And that's the position that Bernie Kosar has been on a lot today. Looking down at the ground, getting back up because he has had no time to throw.
The momentum quite obviously has shifted back to the Raiders. Cleveland scored to cut the Raider lead to 17-14. Then a big touchdown throw by Plunkett. Good kick by Gossett. Walker at the 6. To the 20. To the 26-yard line. Good run back by Fulton Walker. A 21-yard return, and Mike Johnson made the tackle. We'll return to Los Angeles Coliseum with the Raiders leading the receptions today. He had 2 last week, so that's 4 in 2 weeks. A total of 7 on the year, and that's the most touchdown receptions since Bob Chandler had 10 in 1980 for the Raiders. First down for the Raiders. Marcus Allen following Hawkins outside. Fine play defensively by Ray Ellis to bring him down.
That was a good play by Ray Ellis. But what he did that time is, as Marcus Allen gave him the stiff arm, he just grabbed his arm and yanked him down. That's a good play. You know, we talked a lot about the quarterbacks of '83. Everybody talks about the Elways and all those, but there was a great class of '71. And there's the quarterback class of that '71. There's the 2 people that are left, of course, Plunkett and Anderson. How about some of those names?
Joe Theismann, broken leg, retired him to the broadcast booth. Dan Pastorini is running drag racers these days.
Well, there was Scott Hunter and Joe Reed were in that also, and they were some pretty good quarterbacks.
Plunkett trying to go to Todd Christensen. It's incomplete. Ray Ellis broke up the play. Rex Kern was another fine quarterback from that crop, and Scott Hunter, who played with the Packers, Joe Reed.
You know, I remember the first game that Jim Plunkett played in. I was with New England that time, and he beat the Raiders, believe it or not, 20-6.
To those viewers who have just joined us to watch our house, please stay.
Their #1 draft choice and led the Patriots to victory that day against these same Raiders, 20-6, and everybody thought the Raiders were destined for down the tubes, and the Patriots were going to the Super Bowl.
Plunkett's pass to Marcus Allen. Penalty marker down as Allen is knocked out of bounds by Chip Banks. They were roommates in college at USC, and Banks used to practice covering Allen coming out of the backfield. Face mask call.
Now, watch on the left side of your screen. You're going to see, I think it was on Shelby Jordan. Now, watch right there. See if you don't see a face mask. Right up inside, see he got his hand up inside there? That was Reggie Camp, who got his hand up inside the face mask. That's a 5-yard penalty.
Shelby Jordan.
Number 96 grabbed the face mask. 5-yard penalty, and it's 3rd down.
Reggie Camp. Shelby Jordan is in there in place of Henry Lawrence, who was shaken up earlier but came back in the first half.
A great picture of what you do as a defensive lineman. You used to be able to jam the lineman in the face mask. You could slap him in the head. Now you can't slap him in the head. You used to be able to hit them in the face mask and kind of block their eyes, but you can't do that anymore. It's an offensive game today.
Sounds like the voice of experience speaking.
Oh, I remember a lot of those tricks. The double head slap, when you came up and slapped them on one side of the head to get their attention, and then you really got it with your right hand as you clubbed them in the side of the head and just about rolled it to the edge of their shoulder.
Henry Lawrence is sidelined with bruised ribs. He will not return. He also got poked in the eye by Reggie Camp earlier in the game.
See, the discussion now is whether they want to take the play, because the play would have gotten them close to a first down.
And we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
KSBW TV8, Salinas, Monterey, San Jose. First in local news.
Mel Proctor with Dave Rowe in Los Angeles with 12:59 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Los Angeles Raiders, behind 3 touchdown passes by Jim Plunkett, lead Cleveland 24-14.
Well, we're having a big discussion here because the play got almost, well, the guy actually got a little bit more yardage than what the penalty did. So quickly Ben Bright said that's a 5-yard penalty, and he was going to mark it off. And then the Raiders brought it to his attention and said, hey, wait a minute. Now Ben's just going to mark it off. He said, I don't care what you say. We're going on with this game.
Now Eddie Johnson wants an explanation.
He's saying you put the ball down there first time. Now you're moving it up there. Why?
Shelby Jordan, number 74, standing in for the Raiders.
A lot of discussion on this play. Wouldn't you love to be down there and hear what they're saying? Saying, well, excuse me, Mr. Referee, this is what happened.
The ball was originally on the 22-yard line.
That would put it on a 5-yard penalty, would, of course, put it on the 27. But the 5-yard penalty takes place, I think, from where the infraction happened. And that's what they're saying.
So it's a 27.
Ben said, I don't want to hear it anymore.
You look for the Raiders now with a 10-point lead and 12:57 left to stay on the ground and try to eat up time and prevent the Browns from getting the ball.
That's exactly the philosophy now, is to drive the ball. Try to get 2 or 3 first downs and run that clock down. We're down to a little bit under 13 minutes, which is a lot of time for this Cleveland team. They have not had many things go right for them today, but they're still in this ball game.
Browns with a 4-man front. Camp, Golick, Pazuli, and Hairston. The handoff to Marcus Allen. Cutting back and picking up additional yardage to the 36-yard line. Chris Rockins, the free safety, made the tackle. But Allen is running very well in his second half.
Listen, that was schoolhouse right. They pulled both guards on that. It was a power play.
Schoolhouse right. Is that the same as student body right?
Well, watch this. You'll see both guards. See the guard pull there? That's Mickey Marvin pulling the offside. There's Charlie Hanna, 73. He gets a good block. You can see there's the 83. Now watch the tail end of that. It looked as if Rockins kind of gave a little swap down to the face there and make sure he was down.
There's the third-string quarterback, Rusty Hilger. They're short of a first down. It'll be 4th and 1, so Ray Guy is in to punt. The Browns would love to see the Ice Cube Gerald McNeil break one. Both punters have had excellent days.
That's a lot of punts for both teams today.
This is the 8th punt for Ray Guy. Jeff Gossett of Cleveland has punted 9 times. Good kick. Backing McNeil to the 13. Oh, he ran into his own man, or he might have broken that one even longer. He ran into Scott Nicholas, but still a 14-yard return following a 52-yard punt by Ray Guy. Herman Fontenot is the lone setback for the Cleveland Browns. You can expect Bernie Kosar to put it up. He's completed 13 of 26 passes, but for only 164 yards. He's been intercepted twice and sacked 4 times. Here comes Turan on a safety blitz, and he gets him again. Pass is incomplete. I think he got rid of it in time. But Turan has spent a lot of time in the Cleveland backfield today.
Well, they've accomplished what they wanted to accomplish, and that is disrupt the timing of Bernie Kosar. Now watch out his right eye. He looks at him. He says, oh, no, there he is. He's right in the backfield. Kosar doesn't even get a chance to throw the ball. But the Raiders have been able, because of that great corner coverage, where they're going man-to-man, they've been able to blitz those linebackers. And with one running back there, Fontenot that time, he's unable to pick up that blitz because he is setting to one side or the other, and the other side is where the blitz is coming from.
2nd down and 10. 4 wide receivers for the Browns. Greg Townsend almost got to him, and the pass is incomplete through the hands of Clarence Weathers. But Kozar just has no time.
No, he doesn't. See, whichever side Fontenot comes out, he comes out and he sets up in the eye back right behind Kozar. And as Kozar goes into his count, Fontenot shifts to that side of the line, one side or the other. When he shifts to a halfback position, they're bringing the other side lineman or back is blitzing from that side, so they're blitzing away from Fontenot, putting pressure right in Bernie Kozar's face. Let's watch it again, see if they do it in fact again. They've got one back in the backfield. You'll see the other back will shift up. Now there's Fontenot. He's going to shift to the right. Let's see if they rush him from the left.
Greg Townsend drops him for a loss. That's the 5th sack by the Raiders today, and a total of 40 on the season.
Well, they rushed him from both sides that time. But you just have got to set that pocket up quicker when you have that one back sitting back there. Now watch here. You'll see there's the pressure. See 56 coming from this side? And now watch the top side. They've got 7 people rushing the quarterback. Look at all those black jerseys. There's Piquels. Toran is 30. They just got a bunch of players back there.
Jeff Gossett with his 10th punt of the game. Penalty marker is down. Fulton Walker fields it at the 42. And runs head-on into Brad Van Pelt, a veteran who played a couple of years with the Raiders, now performing in a Cleveland uniform.
And this is going to be offsides against the Raiders, so they're going to, in fact, get another chance to punt. It's going to be a 5-yard penalty. Now, the Raiders would have had the ball about the 48-yard line.
Offsides against the Raiders.
And Cleveland is going to get a chance to punt. Now you see that what happens on a penalty like this. It's a foolish penalty.
Number 52 defense was offside. 5 yards, 4th down.
Now,
Lyndon King was offsides.
And Mel, the way you tell what this penalty, the impact that this penalty will have, is the Raiders were going to get the ball on about the 48-yard line of Cleveland. Now when they repunt again, watch the field position. Then you'll be able to tell how big a penalty this really is. If he gets back to the 48-yard line, then of course it didn't have any impact.
Raiders lead the Browns 24-14 with 10:51 remaining. Jeff Gossett running from his 10-yard line. Raiders set up for a return. Walker across the 35 and tripped up at the 40 by Scott Nicholas. A 43-yard kick and a 9-yard return by Fulton Walker.
Well, to measure the impact of that penalty, it's about a 13, 14-yard penalty. There's the 2 games that are in progress.
Jesse Hester is wide to the left. Tim Moffitt split to the right. Hawkins and Napoleon McCallum are the running backs. McCallum, he started the game but hasn't played much since, with Marcus Allen having a big game. Reggie Camp made the tackle for the Browns.
Now he's got to hurry up and get this game over because he's got to get back to the ship.
The ship will be sailing if he's not careful.
I asked Al Davis if he in fact controlled the Navy, and he just kind of raised his eyebrows and said, "Now, David, you know that's not true." But he got McCallum's ship stationed right here outside of Los Angeles, just fortunate enough to be close enough where he can commute daily to practice back and forth.
Should we call him Admiral Davis? Jesse Hester is in motion. McCallum running hard with that straight up high knee action, a slashing, powerful style. A lot of people, when McCallum was in college, compared him to Marcus Allen, but Tom Flores says he's a much different type of runner.
Oh, I think he is too. I don't think Marcus Allen doesn't run with that great knee action like McCallum does, or a fellow from the running back from San Francisco 49ers. That's a great knee action.
Roger Craig.
But he runs. Allen runs that quick darting motion. He changes direction so quickly. You can see his statistics there. That's better than a 4-yard average. And yeah, I think he's going to rest the rest of the day and watch Mr. McCallum run with his different running style.
McCallum gives the Raiders a first down at the Brown 49, and it ends at McCallum again. Driven out of bounds by 3 Browns, led by Ray Ellis. It'll be interesting to see what happens at the Naval Academy following this season. Has Napoleon McCallum established a precedent for David Robinson, the 7-foot center, who's now at Navy? Great basketball star, and if he was free of any entanglements, or if a relationship could be worked out where he could play basketball and also fulfill his naval obligation, he would certainly be the #1 pick in the NBA draft.
Well, of course, the first player that comes to recognition is Roger Staubach, who had to sit out his 5 years while he served for the Navy, but McCallum has been able to work it in, and as you said, the basketball star Robinson could be the second one to be able to play in that situation.
Plunkett having to scramble, and he slides in safely at third base.
Now there's a difference this year in the way that the quarterback goes down. That time you saw Plunkett slide feet first. When he slides feet first, they call that the give-up slide. You can't touch him. You can just run over and touch him down. Now watch on the tail end of this. If he dives for yardage, then of course you can hit him. But he slides feet first. It's a give up, and there come the Cleveland Browns, just put the hand on him.
Like the Raiders may have brought Maury Wills into training camp.
39
quarterbacks on the slide.
At 39 years old, you don't want to go out there and get hit.
Third down, 7, 8:29 left in the fourth quarter. The Raiders lead 24-14. Both the Raiders and Browns have won 6 of their last 7 games. Plunkett's pass is complete to Tim Moffitt. He's got a first down. Clay Matthews makes the tackle for the Browns. Moffitt, in his second year from Mississippi, he once scored 5 touchdowns in 5 minutes in a high school game. He can get you some points quickly.
Well, they must have been close in. I couldn't score if I had 5 runs.
He was a third-round pick last year. And he comes out of the game. It'll be first down for the Raiders at the 38 of Cleveland. The Browns desperately need to get the ball back.
They certainly do. They need to stop the drive. But right now, Plunkett is a master at running that clock, using that time. He's watching a 30-second clock. It's down to 8, 7, 6, 5. When he snaps the ball, it's down to 3 or 2. And he's using the entire 30 seconds on the clock.
McCallum with a good second effort. They ran with 2 tight ends that time. Parker and Christensen were both in there for the extra blocking, and they're just grinding it out. A 5-yard pickup for Napoleon McCallum, the NCAA's all-time all-purpose yardage leader with over 7,000 all-purpose yards. He did everything in Navy.
He certainly did. You know, as we watch Jim Plunkett, I keep on thinking that we have to pick the MVP of this game if it continues the way it's going. Jim Plunkett certainly seems to be the man. Now watch the 30-second clock. And see, there he is. He's standing over center. He's looking at the clock. It's down in single digits when he snaps the ball.
McCallum again. Bob Golick on the tackle for the Browns. Cleveland has 2 timeouts remaining. Remember, they had to use one earlier when there was a mix-up and Bernie Kosar had to call a timeout?
Right, well, if their defense cannot stop this drive, they've been able to consume a lot of clock, a lot of time. Plunkett is taking, as I said, he's a master at looking at that 30-second clock. He hasn't even gotten them back in the huddle, and we're down to 20 seconds on the clock.
The Raiders have used 4 minutes on this drive already. Third down and 1 situation. 6:20 left in the game and counting. Raiders 24, the Browns 14.
Now they're probably going to have to call timeout because he's down under 5 seconds. When he gets to 1, let's see if he calls timeout. Yep.
Trophy winner, Super Bowl MVP. Join us next Sunday for an exciting hour.
He didn't do well. They cut him. Al Davis picked him up and said, I think he's got a couple more good years in him. And the story of his life has been these Raiders. He has led them to 2 Super Bowls, and they seem somewhat destined, if they can continue their winning tradition here late in the season, to go to another playoff situation.
Well, that's been one of the keys to the Raiders' success. Al Davis picking up players regarded by other teams being at the end of their careers and salvaging a couple of years out of it. Lyle Alizado was another example.
Dave Rowe, too.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. Third down and 1. McCallum keeps the drive alive, picking up the first down. Chris Rockins made the tackle, and time is running out on the Cleveland Browns. The Raiders have dominated this series. They've won 7 of the 8 regular season games between the 2 teams and 2 playoff games.
When this drive started, Mel, there was almost 10 minutes on the clock, so you can see that clock ticking down. It's going to be running down, and that really compounds the problems that the Cleveland team has. They cannot stop the clock. They don't want to use their timeouts. They need 2 scores.
Each team has 2 timeouts remaining. McCallum following Frank Hawkins into the line. running hard. The 1-2 punch of McCallum and Allen has been very effective today.
This is when it becomes long for a defensive lineman. I know what it's like to be out on that field. There's Al Davis, of course, in the middle. And he's enjoying a happy day. The Raiders.
He was really concerned before the game because of the injury to Howie Long.
Yeah, he really was.
Worried about the Raiders' ability to put a lot of pressure on Bernie Kosar, but they were able to do that even without Howie Long.
Well, that's again because they could play man-to-man defense, and they shut down the 2 outside wide receivers. For Cleveland all day, they've shut them down.
Second down and 6. McCallum gets a good block. Eddie Johnson wrestles him down.
Well, you can see that clock ticking down. Boy, that is you can almost hear those ticks when you're a defensive lineman.
Napoleon McCallum has carried the ball 8 times on this drive.
Remember, this drive started with just about 10 minutes on the clock. So it's run a long way down, and Jim Plunkett's, they're taking their time walking back in the huddle. He's standing back there, just taking all the time in the world. He's not even in the huddle yet. He's off to the left of your screen.
The fact that McCallum was allowed to play in the NFL in addition to his naval duties, not the first time he's been the subject of controversy. He was the first redshirt in the history of the Naval Academy. He had broken his ankle one year, and they granted him an extra year of eligibility. And that stoked the fires of controversy. 3rd and 5. Plunkett puts it up. Complete to Todd Christensen. Another first down. The drive continues. Chris Rockins made the tackle.
And what a target he is. Todd Christensen, 46. He's 6'3", about 235 pounds. Now watch when he comes off this line. Just quickly slices across. There's the defender in the back of him, and all Christensen's got great hands. He really can take the ball and really come down with it in difficult situations. You can see the defender was hurt. It looks like Chris Robinson was hurt on that play.
Todd Christensen led the AFC with 82 receptions a year ago, and one of the reasons he's able to catch so many passes is because in the Raider offensive scheme, they've got so much deep speed and really stretch that defense, and he makes a lot of catches underneath the coverage. Look ahead at the Raiders' schedule. Not much time to prepare for San Diego. They'll meet the Chargers Thursday night. And the Eagles, a tough game in Seattle. The Raiders have always had their problems with the Seahawks. Kansas City at home, and the Colts.
You know, you talk about Todd Christensen and the role he plays with these Raiders. They have always used a tight end all the way from the days of Ray Chester. Then they went to Dave Casper, had Warren Bankston in there, and now, of course, Todd Christensen. They have always used the tight end as a wide receiver, not just a blocking back, not just running there for running. You can see them shaking in, get a little drink of water. But he was a very integral part of this Raider team. Dave Casper was when he played the number of years he did. And as I say, Ray Chester, you can see waves of the crowd waving up to his wife.
Christensen was a running back, and Brigham Young, drafted by the Cowboys, a running back. They tried to talk him into becoming a tight end, and he was not agreeable to that. They released him. The Giants picked him up. They wanted him to become a tight end. He said, no, thank you. Wound up with the Raiders, and apparently they convinced him, and he's had a great career. 3-time Pro Bowler. Chris Rockins coming off the field.
Fans don't like him. They don't rally around him. They do that to Plunkett.
And off to Frank Hawkins. Chip Banks makes the stop. Hawkins was a great running back in Nevada Reno. He rushed for over 5,000 yards and finished as the 3rd all-time rusher in NCAA.
Oilers, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and San Diego. So they don't have a hard schedule to play. They have some difficult games, but they still are well in the race.
Napoleon McCallum running hard. He fumbled the football, but I think the play had been blown dead.
Right now, it's rip the ball out time. Try to cause that miscue. Try to cause something to happen. But really, the Raiders have played flawless football today. They have not been hurt by the interception. They have not been hurt by the fumble, and the clock just ticks down. Before we get this playoff, we'll probably be at the 2-minute warning.
Timeout, Cleveland.
The Browns call their second timeout. They have 1 remaining with 2:20 remaining in the 4th quarter.
When it started, and it's now down to just a little bit over 2 minutes and 8 minutes and 20 seconds. That's the master of a seasoned quarterback.
Denver with the Raiders. McCallum and Steve Strahan, number 39, are in the backfield. 3rd down and 4 from the 7-yard line. McCallum dropped at about the 8 or 9 by Chip Banks. Browns 24-14.
Pass completion.
Chris Barr is in to try a 26-yard field goal. Mark Wilson holding for him. And the kick is good, so it's now 27-14. The Raiders pulling away. The Raiders used 8 minutes and 43 seconds on that drive. And brother Matt has none. It's kind of interesting, Dave, as a former Penn Stater, that Matt Barr beat out his brother Chris on the all-time Penn State team that was named. By the way, were you named that team?
No, I was not. It was one of the best things that ever happened to Penn State. When I left, they started winning. By the way, I just wanted to give an update. I understand New England, with no time on the clock, a 25-yard pass from Eason to Irving Fryer, and the New England Patriots won 30-28.
Wow.
No time on the clock when the pass was completed.
Barr with a swift kick taken by one of the Cleveland linemen. Dave Mazzulli almost breaks it. Shedding bodies.
I liked it. That's how I used to run at Penn State.
Cleveland's version of the refrigerator. Good run by Pazzulli. Jeff Barnes made the tackle.
Kind of has a straight up. He's got to get a little more lean. There. Pull one of those Miami finishes out.
Cleveland's had the ball for only 1 minute and 39 seconds in this fourth quarter. The Raiders have had it 11 minutes and 24 seconds. Kozar in trouble again. And sacked for another loss. Spent a lot of time on his back today. That's the 6th sack by the Raiders. Bill Pickel and Greg Townsend combining.
And what they're doing now is when they set the tone, what they did is they just said, hey, look, we're not worried about the run. We know you can't run against us and win. You're going to have to throw the ball. We don't care about the run. All we're going to do is rush the passer, and that's what they are doing now. They are rushing the passer every time. 2nd and 15. He tries to hit Fontenot, and it's incomplete. Kozar will be seeing these Raider defensive linemen in his sleep tonight. Now it's time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. And today's MVP is Raider quarterback Jim Plunkett, who's thrown 3 touchdown passes, and Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's games. Congratulations to Jim Plunkett. The new George Blanda of the Oakland Raiders. Asked Tom Flores how long he thought Plunkett would play, and he said, maybe another year or two. He said, I don't know if he really wants to play much longer than that. Kozar's pass is complete to Terry Greer with 1:20 remaining. 15-yard pickup. Raiders leading 27-14. The Browns' 3-game win streak about to come to an end. Herman Fontenot trying to get outside, and he's out of bounds. The executive producer of NBC. Less than a minute remaining. Here comes Greg Townsend, and Kozar unloads. Incomplete in the end zone, intended for Webster Slaughter. I'd also like to thank 51 seconds remaining. 3rd down and 2 for the Cleveland Browns. Townsend getting to Kozar, but he got the pass away. He's getting to know Greg Townsend real well. So what Townsend is doing is he's coming from a linebacker's position, and he has been stunning through. The 2 defensive linemen go one way, and he's going around the other way, opening up a seam, and he has just put pressure all day. As you said, Bernie Kozar certainly knows Greg Townsend, and he knows Stacy Turan today. He's going to see 30 and 93 in his sleep tonight. Although Townsend attended college at Texas Christian, he's from Los Angeles. He played at Dominguez High School here and Long Beach City College before going to TCU. 47 seconds left. The Browns have 1 timeout remaining. Kozar on the rollout. Incomplete, intended for Herman Fontenot. So the ball will go over to the Raiders. That's pretty much the game. Well, with 42 seconds, you're going to see Plunkett just take the snap and kneel down. And Plunkett's going to finish today 14 of 26, 3 touchdowns, 220 yards passing. The Raiders got off to a rough start. They lost their first 3 games and won 5 in a row. They were beaten by Denver for the 2nd time.
and last week beat Dallas 17-13, and they'll win today. The Broncos have swept them this year, and that marks every year since 1978, with the exception of the strike shortened year in '82, either the Broncos or the Raiders have swept that series, and Denver wins both games this year.
That used to really be quite a game. You know, conversely, on the other side, Bernie Kosar, only in his second year, he's got a lot of growing up to do as far as maturing as an NFL quarterback. But he has got a lot of days in front of him where he's going to have great days like Jim Plunkett. It was interesting to note that he said Jim Plunkett was his idol when he grew up. All he kept on hearing about was the great Jim Plunkett.
Jim Plunkett and Brian Sipe were his two idols.
Ladies and gentlemen,
So it's been an educational afternoon for Bernie Kosar, and Jim Plunkett and the Raiders come away with a victory, winning this one by a score of 27-14. We mentioned the exciting conclusion of that game between the Patriots and the Rams. Let's go now to the live call by Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.